is a technical failure this time.
A Kyle failure indeed. And it is functional. Lovely, fantastic, amazing. The magic of the internet once more. Hello, chat. We're almost on time today. We would have been on time if it weren't for Kyle, as usual. Like that's just the excuse, okay? Nice and
Listen,
simple.
I build up the suspense by counting down like I'm pressing a button. Press this button. Here's a boo-doo. Oh, it crashed. At the exact
Then I have to do
point.
it all over again. So, today we are here with Fresher Luke, who has a little animation project to show us, and we're going to talk a bit about animation, the animation industry in general, and how its state is right now. So, Luke,
Yes.
an introduction, please.
Hello, my name's Fresher Luke. I cannot see any kind of screen at all, so I'm just speaking into the void. I'm a animator, former animator who has over 10 years experience working in the mainstream animation industry in America and overseas. I have produced, or I guess self-published, multiple graphic novels. One of the most notable ones is, of course, Bikini Cowboy. I've got a bunch of other things that are escaping my mind right now. But, oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, there it
Then
is.
you'll have a general idea of what's going on.
Thank you. And I have my own animated project that I'm doing right now that you guys have been kind enough to let me be a part of, to, I guess, promote.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, we let you be a
Sorry,
part of this
I was like,
project.
the music started blasting and I lost my train of thought. So, yes. Oh, there. All right. I can see things now. All right. Cool.
All right. I also apologize in advance, chat. My mother managed to infect me with what is probably the coof, the reckoning, so
Whoa.
there might be a little bit of coughing, etc., but I'll try to mute myself.
I think
This is just what my family does. Like every time anyone in my family is sick, we're all gonna get sick. Like there's no escaping it. Like I'm pretty sure my dad will be calling me a couple of days like sick.
Do you have a weak immune system in your family generally, or is it just
It's biological, I think. All three of us are basically keyed up to the same immunosystem at this point.
All right. Sorry to hear that.
I
hope you feel better. Yeah. So did you guys? How do we do this? How do we start?
Well, would it be okay if I played the trailer?
So there are two trailers. There's the one where I'm just kind of like talking, which is the cheap one, and then there's the one that is the second one, which is the early test footage. So you can decide which one you want to play. It's your show, I guess.
Actually, Arch is technically. Here, I'll pull it up for chat. You can take a look at it. I'll keep dropping links in the chat, guys. So if you want to go and check out his Indiegogo, give it a click, and go ahead and read through it. I'm gonna have the audio muted so we can kind of talk over it. But
okay.
You want to tell us a little bit about this storyboard, this sort of short you made?
Oh, so this is early test footage that I kind of did just to I guess see how everything worked. It's kind of a mix of animatic stuff and sort of like semi-finished stuff. And this is just kind of like stuff I do just to sort of decide on art direction, how I'm going to do acting, layout, prop design, background design, sort of what I can get away with and what's the most labor intensive. So that's mostly what this is. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. What inspired you to start doing this at all? Because the animation scene right now is in a very interesting state where
Yes.
you've got a lot of independent animators who are doing a lot of different stuff on YouTube. Everything from like animated history videos to like full scale animations, like the Hell of a Boss series, which had an incredible success, of course.
Yes.
And then you've also got the more professional stuff, like you've got Studio Trigger now cooperating with Netflix to make goddamn cyberpunk animes. You have Arcane created by League of Legends, which probably had $5 billion thrown at it, etc.
Sure.
It is a tale of extremes, to put it mildly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned Trigger. I mean, Japan's like a whole different kettle of fish. They're all about creating independent small businesses. They're very entrepreneurial people. And I used to be friends with the guy who is, I guess, their American liaison still. But the reason I'm making this is, as you said, the animation industry, or at least the mainstream animation industry, is kind of in this strange, bizarre place right now. The last, I guess, 5 to 7 years haven't been great because a lot of the content that's been made, I'm not sure how much in depth you want me to go into, but let's just say it's been content that I would deem not suitable for children's consumption, as it pushes a certain kind of agenda, which I don't agree with, that kind of gets away with the whole point of good storytelling and interesting characters for quote unquote the message. And so I've always been a big fan of fantasy, and right now Rings of Power is bombing really bad. I think House of the Dragon's doing a little bit better, but it just seems like content this day and age has been overtaken by people who think that being of a certain ideological bent means that all of a sudden that means everything they make turns to gold, but in fact it is the opposite of that. And so kids and children's all ages entertainment has kind of been, I guess, lost in the bramble or in the noise or whatever you want to describe it. And I just saw that there's like a real lack of good all ages entertainment that sort of brings everything back to basics, like good story, character development, interesting plots, that sort of stuff. And that's why I'm trying to do this independent animation. It's for this property that I've had bouncing around in my head for a very long time. And there's actually a precursor to it on YouTube somewhere called Dungeon Crawlers. It was a 3-minute animated short that I did for Nickelodeon that got summarily cancelled right around the same time that the new animation mafia took over the industry. So if you want to check that out, please do. But right now I'm just kind of promoting this.
Well, that's an interesting point, because animation has not been immune from the wider entertainment industry's problems here in the West. I mean, Steven Universe is an excellent example of that. Like, it is one of the big names around, and it is overtly sexual, in my opinion.
Well, the interesting thing is I used to be friends with Rebecca and Ian, and I have done work on Steven Universe, like freelance work, and I can tell you firsthand, yeah, like watching that. When I first worked on it, I think I worked on 1 or 2 episodes of season 1, and then just watching all that potential get wasted was horrible. And yeah, you're right. It is pushing something quite overt right now. Oh, there it is. There's the thing.
Yeah, I'll make it bigger if you want to see what the previous work was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I finished this around the end of 2017. But yeah, like it's not only just the work, but because I saw it firsthand, I also saw the people who made this sort of start to slowly transform into something people I didn't recognize, if that makes any sense. I know Jordan Peterson. I'm like a huge fan of Jordan Peterson. But one thing he talks about is ideological possession, and like ever since everything went down the way it did, I'd been trying to figure out what had happened and why people changed so drastically. And in my opinion, I think they were taken possession of by an idea rather than possessing an idea. And that idea is, of course, woke politics, gender identity, and all this other stuff that I don't think is appropriate for children.
Well, there's one thing too, because what is appropriate for children is at the core of this conversation.
Yes,
because you have a wing of politics here, which, with varying degrees of extremity, differ quite drastically from the conservative ideas of what is appropriate for children.
Sure.
There's I remember over in America, the cesspool of the world.
I live there, dude.
Wow.
Is he? I understand. But so there was I remember one children's book in particular,
Uh-oh.
which it was titled something like "Children Masturbate," and it was intended for like ages 6 to 12.
Oh, see, that's not, no. I don't think that would be appropriate for any child.
Yeah.
Even.
And the argument is that for them it's like, oh well, this is natural, therefore, yeah, but it's not societally natural, nor
Yes.
is it actually natural. Like that, we have propriety. It's like pornography, right? Everybody uses
Basically, yeah.
pornography because we're men and we're literally
And-
biologically programmed, but you don't talk about it.
And
Like,
there's
you
the
don't,
internet as well. It's easier to access more than ever. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like doing drugs or having a drinking problem.
Yes, and they tend to make the argument for it by saying that, oh, this is normal, this is natural, etc. And if you don't think about it, you can easily kind of fall to that line of reasoning, which is what I think a lot of the ideological subversion is as well. It's like, oh well, but listen to this. Here's my pseudo intellectual babble. Because you need to actually introduce the elements of propriety into this. Like,
Yeah.
children's cartoons should just be fun and stupid, and
Well,
that's about it. Like,
I
it's
mean,
like
maybe
teaching,
not the
perhaps.
stupid part, but they should be fun. I do
Actually,
agree
yeah, no, when it comes to certain kids' cartoons, like some of my most favorite cartoons were the ones that had mature ideas behind them so that you learn to appreciate them as you grow up. Like, a cleverly written kids show can also be entertaining for adults to watch as well.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's sort of the point of all ages entertainment, which is what I'm aiming with Random Saga. It's like, because I mean I get it. Like, I mean I'm not a parent, but I understand. Like I was a kid once, and you know, like the ideal situation is that a parent will sit down with their child and watch whatever it is that the child wants to watch. Right? It's like a bonding. It's a form of bonding between the child and the parent, which is important, right?
Yep.
And so that bond, like that relationship between the child and the parent, is sacred. And as someone who creates animated content, or at least entertainment in general, my job isn't to insert myself into the middle of that relationship. My job is to present something objectively, like without any kind of, you know, leaning bias or, you know, neo-dual agenda, and sort of, you know, set it up in such a way where it's like general enough that the kid can turn to the parent and ask him or her any specific question, and the parent won't be sitting there wondering how the heck do I answer this question. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
like that's the role of entertainment. Isn't so much to, I mean, partly it is to challenge, but you can challenge people's conceptions by offering a slightly different perspective in a good way, right? Rather than trying to force feed some kind of idea that you've just found out about that you think is the new revealed wisdom or whatever. And that kind of speaks into sort of like this deeper philosophy that I have in regards to, I guess, culture and storytelling, in that, you know, it's kind of like, in a sense, it's kind of like the backbone of the fabric of society, because culture is, and stories, and the stories we tell each other are the stories we tell about ourselves to ourselves, right? It's like a reinforcement of our values, and that starts as early as childhood with, you know, kids' entertainment. And coming back to the original, sort of touching back on the original point, you know, the current entertainment is sort of, in my opinion, not really giving children very good moral lessons, in my opinion, or good ways to sort of behave responsibly in society. And I mean, I kind of addressed that with some of the characters in this campaign, that when we eventually go through it, and I can explain it, you'll find out. But in general, that's sort of where I'm coming from with this, and it's sort of part of the deeper meaning of what I'm trying to achieve with this. Because I mean, it's all too easy to just sit back and complain about culture. I know this is a really long rant, but I have to say it. But I mean, the real thing that we can do to fight back against sort of this pervasive cultural rot that's happening everywhere is to create good things like this and put them out in the world for people to discover and consume.
Yeah, I kind of think that's definitely on the right train of thought, because I think too often, much to take back to what you said earlier, where a lot of the creative sphere has kind of become this, what would you call it, like ideologues, like the idea of just trying to push these ideas on people.
Yeah, it's a propaganda arm. They're pushing. Yeah, it's basically propaganda now,
And
because go ahead.
Yeah, I mean it's sad. I remember what was one of the shows you mentioned it. I've seen it. Steven Universe. That was the first time I had seen a show that not only confused the shit out of me, but also as I got to the end of like the first season, I was beginning to ask myself, like, what is the purpose of this story? Like, what is the moral, like, dilemma here? And the more you think about it, the more you dig into what the story's messaging is you find out that it's very kind of upsetting. Like, it's like, yes, like, it's the idea of pushing sexual ideas onto children, and it's quite creepy that this is actually infested children's TV shows and cartoons, that people are actually trying to push these on kids. This isn't good.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, as I said before, I've seen these people turn into human beings I didn't recognize. They either turn into these strange people that I don't recognize, and they are kind of creepy because they go and they do these talks on stage and they continue to spout this nonsense that I don't agree with, and then they turn around, they point their fingers at me and call me a istanophobe and a degenerate and all these other things, and I'm just like, whoa, I feel like I'm at the movies, because this is some real top level projection, baby.
Yep. And sadly the feeling is kind of like mutually understood there. So One of the things I gotta ask though, for you, because I think a lot of us in the indie sphere who have kind of been pushed out by these kinds of people, like for you, what was the big thing that was the final moment with the straw that broke your back, so to speak? You're like, that's enough. I'm going to go and do my own thing.
Well, it's when, because obviously, I was doing that animated short for Nickelodeon, and everybody really liked it, right? We got good, the executives saw it, they liked it. Everyone who saw it liked it, right? It was getting good feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really, I guess, was that moment was when some of the other people who are part of the shorts program, that short got chosen. Part of Nickelodeon's whole shorts program thing is they kind of like select a bunch of pitches and then they put them into a pool, and that's like whatever that year's pool is, right? So it was the 2017 pool of shorts. And so, I guess because it was so good, some of the editors were showing it around, and they showed it to some of the other people who were in that pool who didn't like me very much.
Wow.
Not because of anything I said or did, but because obviously I basically did the whole thing myself, and they are people who cannot do very much by themselves, and I guess they felt very threatened by me, and of course, because of their hubris, they can't admit that right out in the open, so they have to come up with excuses as to why I have to get canceled, and this short has to get canceled, and I should be banned from the entire industry. And they basically nuked my reputation from orbit. And because for some reason everybody decided to become incredibly credulous and stupid overnight, everyone just believed whatever it is they were saying, and that was more or less it. Just the fact that people who I thought were my friends just basically, believed at face value the accusations of some people that most of them had never even met, just because I was white, I was straight, and I was male. So.
Mm-hmm.
You said this was around 2017.
Yeah.
It's the same ballpark for me too.
Yeah, that was around the time when it really started. It was off as well.
It was around the end of 2017 was the Harvey Weinstein scandal, and so that was, that old saying, don't let a good scandal go to waste, or something like that. And so they saw a prime opportunity to basically kick out a lot of the talented male artists who are in the industry. It wasn't just me; it was others. Yeah, I was just like, wow, this place is horrible. This is a horrible place. So I essentially was kicked out. I didn't walk out. I was kicked out, but I just have, and the fact that I haven't been able to get much work after that has been. I'm just like, well, you know what? From what I've heard, like a lot of male artists are trying to leave a lot of the big studios as well because they're saying it's like really horrible. These are just rumors I've heard, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess maybe there's the silver lining there. I would hate to be in that situation, having to call some guy put it in a dress, call him ma'am or miss or something like that, and agree to whatever strange requests he would make of me.
Okay, so you were like fully persona non grata over this.
Basically, yeah.
Jeez.
So it's pretty bad, and I mean, it's gotten worse. There's this organization called Women in Animation, WEA for short, and they're basically the BLM of the animation industry. All the major studios give them, I guess, quote unquote, sponsorship or protection money, is what I call it, so that they don't, WEA doesn't start making problems for them if they don't play ball. And they've got chapters all over the world. Strangely enough, where there are highest concentration of animation studios. So they got chapters in Toronto, they got chapters in Vancouver, all across Europe. The only place they don't have a chapter in is Australia because there is no industry there.
Wherever there is money to be had, yes.
Basically, yeah.
They'll follow the money, like the parasites they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this for the modern day feminist movement. It's one of the most successful protection rackets since the Mafia.
Oh, yeah, no. It's, Anita Sarkeesian really showed them the ropes, I guess. So.
Goddamn Anita.
But anyway, enough about that. I'm sure I feel like we could turn this around and talk about good, positive things.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk more about your project. Like, what's the big inspiration for this story?
Everything I just said.
Okay, well, what's the idea behind the story?
So the idea behind the story is it focuses on these 4 misfit characters who live in this fantasy world called Epic Earth, and they all have their various dreams, wants, and desires, and so they kind of band together to form this, this treasure hunting adventurer group, because in this world, like, part of the economy is, in order to get a license to go delving into dungeons and crypts and treasure vaults, you need to have a minimum of 4 people, because it's like a regulated, like, quote unquote industry. And so they go into these dungeons and collect all these various artifacts, magical or otherwise, and they bring them back and they sell them at various hawk shops, and in exchange for money. And they do that just to, I guess, pay the bills and put food in their mouths, while at the same time they're trying to learn to grow and develop and to become better characters along the way. And it's I guess you could think of it sort of like Ninja Turtles, in that every Ninja Turtle has a specific character trait to them, specific traits, and then they kind of just play off each other. So it's more about dysfunction rather than function, but slowly growing towards a more functional state between them.
Well, that sounds like an interesting premise.
Thank you.
Now, for, like, as far as the show goes, like, so what's the idea behind this? It's Indiegogo. So you want to kickstart just like the first episode as like a pilot episode, or what's the plan?
So the overall plan is obviously I've had 2 previous successful crowdfunds called, strangely enough, Forsaken Gods 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people asking me questions in the chat. They're asking me if I'm not shipping outside the US. Unfortunately, I can't because of the supply chain problems going on right now. I can ship to Australia. That's just because my fulfillment guy has a contact in Australia that he can send stuff to. But I forgot what the original question was.
It's okay. Happens to all of us.
Yeah. If
was
you
I
see a
saying?
question that you want to answer in chat, just go ahead. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't hold
Actually,
back.
if you guys
we'll have a
pull them
little
out,
bit of like a question asking session.
Oh,
a bit
all right.
later where
Sorry,
people
my
can
bad.
ask, but, if you see something particularly pressing, feel free.
So
Especially
yeah,
if
so
it's not a super ad.
the plan is obviously every campaign I do is like me experimenting to see sort of. I guess it's a learning process for me, seeing what people respond to and how people, what kind of perks people back and stuff like that, and what kind of campaigns they uh, they decide to
What's
support.
hot?
What's hot?
Yep.
And so, yeah, my plan is just to do this 10-minute animated short, just to see what I can do with sort of as little as possible, like with the skeleton crew or anything like that. I have another 2 animated shorts in the pipeline. It's one 10-minute animated one that hasn't been storyboarded yet. The script is written and the scratch is recorded, and there's another 20-minute animated short where the thumbs, the scratch, and the script are all done. So my overall objective is I would like to make this a long-running series because I have lots of different stories to tell. But right now I'm just trying to take it one step at a time and keeping an open mind.
Kyle,
Sounds like
tell me what a scratch is.
So scratch is like kind of like what we're doing now, except it's recorded. Like characters or voice actors record the dialogue in the script, and you kind of like smash it all together in the animatic, and that's kind of like the base blueprint for how you're going for the timing and stuff like that. If that makes any sense.
Yep, just
Okay.
like a sketch or a concept piece.
Yeah, but I guess in audio terms, which is why I guess it's called scratch rather than a sketch.
I think I've heard
All
the
right.
terms used interchangeably a few times, but they both are applicable, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one weakness I see here, which I'll be interested in your response to, is that all right, this is a standalone thing. It's a 10-minute animation, was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why should people back this when there is God only knows how many hours of like at a free animation on YouTube? Like, what makes this special?
Well, I'm a filmmaker, a creator, an artist, an animator who has 10 plus years experience working in the mainstream animation industry. As I've said, I've worked on shows like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, BM Puppet Cat, Ben 10, what else? A bunch of others that are escaping my mind right now. Black Dynamite, Nico and the Sword of Light, the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, a whole bunch of different shows for a whole bunch of big studios. So I'm not like someone who's just some rank amateur. Like I know what I'm doing, and if you back this campaign, you'll be getting your money's worth, and you'll also be helping to support independent animation, which I feel like we need more of now more than ever. And it's for all ages as well. So it's not something like, say, Hell of a Boss with lots of swearing and violence in it. It's going to be focusing more on good story, good wholesome characters, and really poignant moments. And plus, there's a 20-page comic book as well.
Okay, so quality for sure.
Yes. So quality, yeah, basically. I'm offering quality.
You've got tons of experience to speak and stand on.
I do, yes.
Like the animations that we've seen so far, genuinely, definitely does look professional. Like I can say nothing else. What I am worried about, though, because again, in this age of so much entertainment, I wonder if a 10-minute short will be enough to really hook people in.
Well, it's the
Because
idea
this is one
that
of the problems of the modern world. Like we are so steeped in entertainment that if I started watching YouTube today and never stopped, there'd be more content when I die than when I started.
True. Well, I mean, I mean, that's kind of an obscure question. Could you pare it down a little?
Okay. Like, since it is just like a standalone thing, I was wondering maybe it would be better to pitch it as a, like you pitched it just now, like this is the start, like this is me experimenting. I want to do more stuff, for example.
There's
Yeah.
a reason to get invested here, because this is going to be like, this looks like a dream series. Like, this is a big project because you've done it before with Nickelodeon. There's something kind of similar to it, and it seems like you want this to take off. Like, you have your heart set on it. You can hear the passion, and that's good.
Yeah.
You want to see this to succeed, and there's a reason to be invested here, because there's going to be a lot more to come, especially if it takes off.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess one of my big pie in the sky dreams is raising $100,000, and then I can start my own animation studio, because I've got other ideas aside from Random Saga that I want to explore somewhere down the road as well. But every journey starts with a single step. And while I get that there's like so much entertainment out there, like there's a sea of information online already. So all I can do, like 10 minutes is like, by my estimation, it's the most I can do with the minimum amount of resources. And that's just been like, obviously from this early test footage that you're seeing here, that's sort of been my estimation of how I can do it. Anything more than that, then it's obviously going to be a bit more expensive and time consuming to do, because obviously making animation is a very labor intensive endeavor.
Definitely.
That's the thing. I also want to say, because I'm going to be a little bit hypercritical here, because this is a harsh market you're wandering into.
Sure, go ahead.
But I also want to point out that like making animations is fucking expensive, and it takes so goddamn long. Like, even as someone, like, I have never done animation of this quality, but I used to do 3D animations. That was what I was originally studying to do, like 3D animations and modeling.
Yeah.
And even that, when you've got lots of tools to automate certain things, you've got lots of shortcuts, etc., it takes hours and hours and hours and hours to make anything.
Yes.
Like, it is a ridiculous undertaking. And after having done lots of YouTube as well, like, from what you see from the outside of a 10-minute animation, like it's not 10 minutes of work, let's put it like that.
Yeah, it's many months and quite possibly maybe years worth of work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's scripting, it's getting voice actors, it's getting them all organized, it's getting reshoots, retakes, it's getting the actual animations done, all of it synced up, etc. Like, it is an enormous undertaking.
So what's your question?
Well, I was more framing it, but...
oh, well, all right. Sorry, my bad. No, that's true. Well, let me just make this point then. To that point, you are right. That is true. The good news is that for this 10-minute animated short, basically like 95 to 99% of the storyboards are done. The voice acting and editing and retakes of the voice work is all done as well. I'm doing this crowdfund simply to fund the production of the actual animation itself. So, yeah. Thank you for teeing that up.
Yeah, it is, because again, that is the big hurdle, isn't it? And that's not just for animations, but for anything. It is the barrier to entry in the world we are in right now.
Yeah.
And it's all about really strategy. Like, in your case, you've elected to go for an Indiegogo. Have you considered like setting up something like how Patreon is, fight their entire security team? So that's not a necessarily a great idea. But
I was about to say that. Like, I was like, please don't say Patreon.
I mean, they do give the biggest revenue gains with the highest risk.
Yes, it's a risk reward. But especially if you have like long-term goals.
Sure. Well,
like,
I mean,
lengthy support.
Yeah, the thing is, the way that I see it is like there's different stages. Like, if this campaign does incredibly well, then obviously that shows that there's I guess a desire for this kind of work and content. Yep. And so, by logic, if enough people get on board with it, then I would be like, okay, well, now there's a legitimate reason for me to want to take on something that's close to a full-time job, like a Patreon, not Patreon, but something like a Patreon, maybe Subscribestar. Definitely after that. But first, I gotta, I guess, find the audience. Then I gotta build the audience.
Well,
like Patreon.
okay.
Patreon is like a full. It almost seems like a full-time job.
No, it
go
isn't.
like.
It isn't a full-time job. So because I'm doing my own indie project too, and I've been crowdsourcing it, and I do YouTube on the side to basically pay and fund the studio and the team and pay everyone, right? You can basically open up a Subscribestar and a Patreon. I honestly recommend get as many things in your foot and as many like pools as possible for exposure. But you can use these to basically help alleviate some of the burden of cost of production. It will help. And then you can give like early access, like, okay, hey, you want to see this early access like storyboard, and then you can like do like an exclusive like developer commentary just for them too. So there's rewards there. It's very easy to do, and I actually recommend you consider that for additional revenue.
I have considered it. It's just, I've got a lot going on behind the scenes right now, like a day job to pay my bills. Like the way I would want to do something like a Patreon would be like an update like every week. And it would be a significant update, you know what I mean?
Like a big like update. Like this week we got this storyboard done and these voice lines recorded, like a whole developer update, so to speak.
The other thing is like I kind of want this 10-minute animated short to sort of be a bit of a surprise. One thing I've noticed, because obviously I have looked into stuff like Patreon and stuff like that. There are people who are patrons who tend to take some of the work of some of those artists and post it for free online. I kind of want to keep an element of surprise with this, and I also don't want to cheat the backers if that were to happen, because they're like, well, we paid all this money for this and it's being released online for free. Like,
some people will always do that, and as a former anti-piracy agent, the piracy stuff is always going to happen. Don't really overthink about that. Like, it's going to happen no matter what you do.
I know, but it's like for me. It's been a monkey on my back.
I know it can.
And so I tried. I'm always trying to find ways to sort of mitigate piracy as best I can, and not just to fight the pirates, but to be fair to the people who actually support me with their money as well. So,
but it's also not your fault if somebody steals that and betrays that trust. You're still innocent there.
You make a very compelling argument. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just telling you my perspective on that subject.
I know, I just don't want you to dismiss yourself.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
But okay, like that gives me a bit of a better idea. So what you're essentially doing is you're looking for the thing that you want to invest in. Like, how do I put it? Like, this isn't necessarily your baby project. This is like, does this work? Like, I want to do this. Does this work? Or
no,
I want to do this.
This is my baby project. Like, I'm really passionate about this project.
This one has all the heart.
Yeah. Basically.
All right. Well, we'll just wait and see. I have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
I am. Oh God. I can't help but be worried. Like, again, it's such a harsh market for one 10-minute animation.
Look, I'm not. I appreciate that you worried for me. I'm not worried per se. Like, if it succeeds, that's great. If it fails or it doesn't, then okay, that just means I got to go back to the drawing board and rethink things. Is all.
Yep. Bounce back.
That's a good.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep an open mind, basically.
Yeah. It's a good point of view to have.
Thank you.
And hey, we are beginning to slowly but surely see at least a little bit of a turnaround in the animation industry at large. So you might not even be persona non grata forever.
Oh no, I think I will. Those people are they're very good at holding grudges, even if they're illogical ones. So
yep, they will never cease.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they are, but I wonder if their influence will not wane, because we have actually seen in animated shows there was the recent He-Man relaunch thing, which, well, its main standout was that it had very little, if anything, to do with He-Man, which is a brilliant way to start a show again.
Yeah.
That one has lost a tremendous amount of steam to the point where now it's basically dropped off everyone's radar. Meanwhile, shows like Arcane and Edge Runner, which have basically just gone for quality, have done very well. Like I'm kind of hoping that maybe the audience have gotten so steeped in content now that they are actually going to look for that quality instead of latching onto whatever is shiny at the time.
I mean, that's a very optimistic view.
It is.
The thing, no, I mean, you're right. But the thing is, like, shows like Arcane, which is absolutely gorgeous and very well written, those are kind of like exceptions to the current rule right now. Like, and also because it was made by a former Disney animation director who moved back to France, and he's started up his own French studio. And the French just make amazing stuff all the time. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's not so much that, I mean, it's good that the Masters of the Universe Revelation like eventually fell off. The problem is like we're always going to keep seeing more projects like that get the green light, not because of any kind of merit to the work or the story, even though the art was very good. It's more about, you know, executives not being able to sort of, I guess executives just not having any taste. Like they can't really discern something that between something that could be potentially a hit or something that could potentially not be a hit.
Yeah, they don't have the eye for it. That's not good.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're just, you know, they're failed business people who couldn't get into live action, and so they ended up in animation as sort of like a consolation prize. And so they, you know, they have no idea. They're pencil pushers, right? They have no idea how the sausage gets made. Their only basic understanding of it is, you know, just a bunch of funny things happening on screen or something, and a few jokes, and wham bam, thank you, man. I mean, they're not really trained to do it, and I guess they don't. That's not part of business school training, or there isn't a course in how to understand the mechanics of good storytelling. They just kind of like, they just see it as a product that they have to push. And if the current narrative is saying, oh, you know, this woke stuff, this is what the people want, then, you know, their NPCs are going to go, okay, well, I guess this is what the people want. Guess we'll push that. And much like the definition of insanity, they continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result every time.
But see, that is why I actually am optimistic too, because you are correct. Like most of these people, like I brought up this point with Disney again and again, it is the fact that they don't get it because they themselves don't like it. Like Disney don't like Star Wars. Like there's not a single executive there who gives a flying fuck about Star Wars. And therefore they are incapable of telling good Star Wars from bad Star Wars. Like they literally can't because they don't know what they're looking for.
No, well, they do know what they're looking for. It's just they're not looking for the right thing. Maybe I wasn't clear before, because part of what's going on in the animation industry right now is that they're not hiring people based purely on their skill and talent and experience. They're basically hiring people purely on their identity, their gender, or whatever they decide to identify, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so already you are halving the potential to, you know, actually get lucky one time and choose the right, quote unquote, the right person, because you're not choosing for the proper parameters. You're choosing for wrong parameters that have no bearing on whether or not that makes you a good writer or a good artist.
Yeah, but there's the thing. They don't have any idea about that either. Like, none of these people went to diversity school. Like, they've got no understanding of the theories behind this, and there is books and books of theory behind this.
So when it comes to these upper echelon folks, don't worry. They have advisors now. That's
the point I'm getting to. Like, these people don't understand this. They understand economics. They hopefully understand how to make a business go round. That's their job. So what actually informs the decision of what gets made is what they told is going to be popular. And that has a lot to do with the wider cultural zeitgeist ongoing. Like for a while now, it has been diversity and inclusion, but I do believe that has begun to change. And once that begins to change, the executives too will be told different things. They'll go like, "Well, why didn't this sell?" And the woke person goes like, "Well, blah 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 blah." Well, I've heard that before. Now tell me why it didn't sell. Because that's the thing. The beauty of executives is that the only thing they understand in the long term is plus and minus.
I mean, look, on paper, your argument makes perfect sense. And in a perfect world,
is a bit different.
In a perfect world, these things would transpire, but we do not live in a perfect world.
I simply don't think it's been long enough time. That's the thing, because we're talking about a very small amount of time. Like we're talking
5 years, dude. It's going to be another 5 years.
It's been a decade of when this started, but that's the thing. The feminist and the woke agenda started in the 60s. Like, for us to think that this is going to change in 5 years or 10 years is optimistic. And the only reason we can hope for that is because they've over-pushed that hard.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I feel like we could talk about it until the cows come home. But you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic in that regard.
But
I don't like being an optimist.
We should go back
shall we take some questions from chat if they have any?
Yeah.
Yes? No? No disagreement?
I'm totally down. That silence was agreement.
Okay, good. Silence is consent. Good.
Yes, silence is consent.
Oh, I don't know if you want to say that here.
I mean,
consent is a loaded word in this day.
Luke's not going to make it, guys.
True. All right, I meant that as a joke, guys. That was a joke.
It's too late, Luke. No back season.
Hey, well, I've already been cancelled, so whatever.
We can try.
What are they going to do?
Second time's a charm? No, wait, third. Gotta get there.
Yeah, probably the third time, yeah. Yeah, so any questions you want to call out?
Well, there's the first question. Why pee-pee hard?
Okay, which character does it for you, I guess? Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, speak of the devil. I scroll down and I see the answer to the question I was looking for. I was going to ask about the individual character because you mentioned it was a party of 4.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got the video looping. If we want to look at the page,
yep, we can I'm switching to the page now. So let's start from the top. We got this cool-looking wizard caster, the Wizard Lizard. Oh, good lord.
Yes, so that's actually his real name. So Wizard Lizard, he's kind of like the brains of the group and the de facto leader. He's this. He comes from this race of lizards, obviously, and they don't like magic. And he's always wanted to be a wizard his whole life. And so he leaves his society to go out into the world to learn to become a better wizard. And part of one of the key things about all these characters is that they might have, like, say, some good traits about them, but they're also flawed. They have many flaws about them. And his flaw is that Wizard Lizard is because he's a reptilian, he doesn't really understand warm-blooded mammals very well, like their behavior or why they do things. And so he's kind of got this arc where, while he has a lot of very high, like, cerebral intelligence, he lacks a lot of emotional intelligence. And as the story progresses and more episodes get made, we kind of see him grow to learn to understand other people and sort of see their perspective a little more. And by doing so, he kind of becomes a better leader of the others. And by being a better leader, they become more successful than what they originally are. And this whole idea of these characters having these arcs or these flaws and getting better as they gain experience is kind of like, I guess, sort of a commentary on actual role-playing games where the more experience you get, the higher your level is on certain traits and stuff like that.
Okay. So that's our Wizard Lizard. I do like the purple. Purple's a favorite color of mine. Now, the next character we have, like, this cool barbarian warrior named Marigold.
Yeah, so Marigold's a really interesting one. He's probably one of my favorite of the characters. He's this young boy who was raised in this magical forest by fairies and other magical creatures. And when he hit puberty, they had to kick him out and tell him he had to go live with other humans. And so because he's grown up in this sheltered world of magic and fairies, he's even though he's got Herculean strength and he can talk to animals. He is also a complete wimp. He doesn't really like violence very much.
Ah, okay.
And so he's kind of got this whole arc where he's kind of got to learn from being a boy and learn to grow into a man, and sort of to understand that even though he doesn't like violence, sometimes you have to fight for the things that are important to you, like your friends and your family and stuff like that. And the other thing is he, when you see him, he obviously looks very intimidating, but when he talks, he sounds like not at all like how he looks, and so that kind of throws people off. And so in a sense, he kind of, at the start, he kind of like quote unquote subverts your expectations, but eventually he does learn to toughen up and be a lot more, I guess, have a bit more of a harder edge on him rather than being soft all the time. But despite all that, he's still an incredibly kind person, and he's very noble, and he has a lot of musical talent. And he's kind of like the big brother of the group.
Okay. He's probably going to be the household favorite, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people really respond to Marigold very well. So I've got a winner with this one.
That one, definitely. He's very sympathetic, especially with his whole, coming of age, learning responsibilities, becoming a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Good arc. I like that one. The next character we got, this little tiny... I thought that said ADHD. Aphid. What's this little character? What race is that?
So Aphid is a young imp white girl. She's an orphan. She's lived on the streets of the city that they live in her whole life. So she has a lot of street smarts, but she's also like still a little kid, and so she doesn't really understand, I guess, the adult world, so to say, very well. And she's had to resort to like lying, cheating, and stealing in order to survive. And to start with, she kind of like ropes in the other members of the group into whatever scheme or scam she has going to get some quick cash. And that tends to get the group into trouble. And so they kind of turn around and say to her, like, look, you can't be doing that kind of stuff anymore. Okay. You gotta start acting more responsibly and less selfishly. And in a sense, her arc is kind of similar to Marigold's, and like the two of them are very good friends. Like she really likes Marigold because he's like the biggest person she's ever known, and he's obviously very friendly with everyone, and so they kind of hit it off really well. And so in a sense, they kind of teach each other. But her arc is also learning to grow up as well, and learning to become more of a responsible and productive adult, and sort of ditching the old bad habits, so to say. So I feel like she's kind of like the little kid of the group that a lot of other kids who watch this could probably identify with the most, because obviously kids are mischievous when they're young, and that's sort of her, I guess, role that she fills. She's also a good pickpocket and a good what do you call it? A lock picker as well. So she can kind of, because she's so small, she can kind of like access areas that like the other characters can't really gain access to because of their size as well.
She's gonna get the party into trouble, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Well, initially, yeah, but then she learns that she can't really be like that because it hurts friends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. She's got to learn the value of her friends. That's gonna be another cool arc. Yeah, you're not wrong. Marigold and her have like I think the biggest growth potential there.
Yeah.
Now for the next character, we've got a little Borkums named Rexton.
Correct. So Rexton, he's the most mysterious member of the group. He's kind of like the emotional glue that holds them all together. And he's also the most capable one of them all. So he's like kind of saving their lives a lot of the time, much like Brain and Inspector Gadget.
Okay.
But he's obviously the simplest as well of all the characters. He is the dog of action, and he's also a dog of adventure. He loves getting into all kinds of crazy situations. He thinks it's a great time. And I think the one note you should really know is that he's a great dog and a good boy.
That means he's gonna be probably the favorite character. That's not even fair. Everyone else has got like, we got these massive character arcs. He's like, a dog. Dog wins. Okay.
Hey, man. Yeah. No, I get it. That's the thing. Well, that's the thing. Just like
Always.
the Ninja Turtles, there's different characters for different people that they like, and you can't go wrong with dogs. Dogs are awesome. So
That's true. Who doesn't love a nice, loyal dog? Then we got story. So I do like your environmental stuff. You did all the drawings yourself, right? Or
yeah,
you have a
yeah.
team,
It's
or-
no, it's all me. These are all concept designs that I did. Just sort of like for the different kinds of sets, or I guess backgrounds. It's not really sets because I hand draw them. But you know, there's like one of the inside of the store.
which looks nice and cozy. Very, very filled up there. It feels cozy. Nice piece there.
That took a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I can imagine all those little artifacts. I imagine some of those artifacts might even get a debut in an episode, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, that's the other thing, because yeah, as I said before, like in this city that I live in, there's all these different pawn shops where, you know, different adventurers bring in the wares, and kind of like Pawn Stars, the show.
Mhm.
You know, they bring in this really, you know, ancient, amazing thing, and they're like, you know, I waded through, you know, so many trials and tribulations and the gauntlet to get this here. How much can you give me? And you know, the pawn shop owner's like, best I can do is $10, buddy. You know,
That's fake.
even though it's like real, you know what I mean? It's like
Just
they're all
lies.
just kind of like shifty. They're just like, well, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna sell this. You know, like,
Like, who's gonna want this giant golden axe? Okay.
yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, that's kind of part of the humor of this world, in that it's sort of like a mix between fantasy and the banality of modern life, so to say, that I'm aiming for as well, but in a humorous and fun way.
That's a really cool concept piece, by the way. Don't be shy on sharing those. People actually really like those.
I've only got so many that I can share.
Yeah, because some of them are spoiler related. Well, maybe in the developer commentary you'll have them.
Yeah, and in developer commentary and in the behind the scenes art book, I'll be like putting everything into that, like all the development stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, art books are great, especially when they don't hold back on the sketches. Doesn't matter how rough the sketch, give it to us, because like that's always the good part. The good part is seeing what the original sketches were.
Exactly, and that's sort of that's definitely what I want to do with the art book. Just put all of it in there. It doesn't matter if it looks good or bad. It's like I always like to give sort of like viewers and backers or whoever might be a fan of this sort of like a sneak peek behind the curtain, just to see how things are done, and because then they learn something and they appreciate it. Like they can see it and go, oh wow, so that's the evolution of how that worked, and you know, in a sense, it kind of fills out the rest of the picture for them mentally, I find.
Mm-hmm. And you got some good merchandising stuff here. Shirts, art book, as you said before. Some stickers.
We got pins, acrylic pins. We got T-shirts, as you said. We got a 20-page full-color comic book. If you scroll down, there's the first page of the comic book is there.
Yep, I'm
called The Big Excuse. And a whole bunch of stuff. I got snapback hats. I got patches. A whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to, you know, like obviously there's the issue of like in doing an animation crowdfund, there isn't really something physical in the actual animated product itself, and so I'm trying to offer some physical rewards to give to backers if they should so want it.
Some signed editions they can sell on Pawn Shop 50 years later.
Yeah, why not?
This became a thing.
Well,
Do
this
it.
is before he made his, you know, trilogy movie series.
Exactly.
Have a
Listen,
trilogy.
this is when he was desperate and did like 2-bit YouTube channels for publicity.
Hey, how about
You guys are not
$10 all.
You guys are not a 2-bit YouTube channel.
So you say that now until you make it, and then you're like, peasant.
No, I'm not like that at all.
I'm
Like
kidding.
I remember all the people that helped me. So if I do make it, and I'm
insulted that Kyle's more of a house pet than a co-owner.
Wow.
House
Rote.
plant, maybe.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. Any ideas on when plushies will be available? Wink.
Well, so people have asked me no, I mean I'm totally down with plushies. The thing is like they're really expensive to make, and so
Yep.
it's like people have asked me two things: plushies and actual whistles. And I want to do both, but obviously I feel like the whistles would be one of the first big stretch goals, and then plushies would be like probably one of the biggest stretch goals. I would love to do like say either Rexton plushie or a Wizard Lizard plushie or even an aphid plushie. I don't know if people would want a Marigold plushie. Having a large muscular man as a plush toy seems weird.
Listen, as a kid, you want all of your favorite characters. Like,
Okay.
now the adults, I'm not going to judge.
All right.
If people start hollowing out the back part of the dog, maybe you should cease production.
Yeah.
Listen, think capitalistically here, okay? They buy it, not our problem anymore.
Yeah, it's out of our hands, man.
We got them. You got the greens. That's all you care about.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty exciting, and it looks like you've got this well shaped out too.
Thank you. I tried. Yeah. This is a little different from how I normally do it. So normally I would just be like, here's the one thing, and then just add a bunch of extras, like add-ons for people, so they can just pick and choose what they want. But this time it's a little bit different because you're kind of funding actual animation productions. I'm trying to gear it more towards raising funds, but also trying to give people the most value for money that I can, and just trying to walk that line as best as I can as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can only do so much at some point, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it takes money to like produce the merch as well, but so it's like, how much money do you want to set aside to make the merch, and then how much is left over to, I guess, pay artists to help you animate this thing. So that's where I'm at.
All right, so we do a couple of the questions then. Go ahead, chat, and like ask questions if you need to, and I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll copy it over in my weakened state.
I've got one pinned question from our boy Ritualist. He wanted to know anything. Do you know anything about Pearl fan art from when you worked on? Don't need to say anymore, I guess.
You sons of bitches! You won't ever let me live this down.
So let's talk about Pearl for a sec here.
No.
Did you? I have no idea.
It's just some old sketches that I did when I was working on Steven Universe.
You did these sketches?
Are you looking them up? Is that what you're doing right now?
No. Oh, can you show them to me?
We are unaware of the deeper lore, but please.
There's no deeper lore. No, let's not. No.
Sounds like there's a lot of lore here. Honestly.
I'm liking
there is
how
no lore.
You're clamming up here. This is making me happy.
Let me just explain it. I mean, I don't know. Everyone lost their minds because I just posted them online thinking it would be funny, right? Like there wasn't anything serious to it, and then immediately, like all the crazed Steven Universe fans went ballistic because you know how they are. Like they bullied a poor young girl into almost committing suicide because she didn't draw like one character from Steven Universe fat enough. You know what I mean? So it's like. They got super mad and super angry, and they all just turned into these little jerks. And everyone's been hounding me about it ever since. I mean, I guess there's like worse things that I could never live down. You know what I mean? Because they were innocent enough drawings. There wasn't anything crazy in there. But I still occasionally get messages where people are like, "Aren't you that crazy freak who drew pictures of yourself banging Pearl?" I'm like, "No, it's just a made-up character." I please go get some help.
You know what's funny? This is actually interesting that you bring this up because my entire art team has done that to all of our characters. Like where they've drawn this. And when you work on a character, you got to understand that you kind of like you're stumped or you're spinning in the mud and you're like, okay, you need to decompress. This is actually something that happens to pretty much every art team I know and I've ever known. This is nothing unique. This is nothing like crazy. This is something, and I'm actually kind of annoyed that they actually fucking went after you over that. That's fucking stupid.
Like when it, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, looking back on it, I can laugh about it, but at the time, it was like, I'd never sort of been approached with that, I guess that storm or that wall of insaneness before, and it was kind of really shocking to me. I just didn't know how to handle it.
It's a fictitious character. Calm down, little children.
Exactly. They're drawings on paper, guys. It's not like I kidnapped some woman, dressed her up, and made her pose and took photos or anything like that. You know, it's like, chill out.
Oh, don't worry. They turn a blind eye when that happens. They only get upset.
They're totally
2D
cool
drawing.
when like actual crime happens, but when imagined crimes happen, that's when we got a problem.
Mm-hmm. But that's actually, that's humanizing, because, you know, means that you're just a person. Look at that, guys. He's normal. Everybody does this.
Thank you. I feel validated.
You should. My degenerate artist Salah would be proud of you.
But I mean, it's not even that degenerate. Anyway.
Now that we're on the topic, I do have to point out something too.
God!
Kyle doesn't merely commission pornographic art of his characters. He commissions pornographic art of me as well.
Oh.
Hold on.
No.
Only 6 times. The others were fan art.
All right, well, I can preempt this and with the answer that is no, I will not do it.
What? What answer?
I'm sure the next question would be, would you do one of me or something, right? Is that where you were going with it?
I'm gonna do you? What?
Like commission me to do never mind. Let's move on.
I'd commission you for like real art. I wouldn't commission you for that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Those are shit posts.
Yeah, I mean, I was a shit poster back in the day, so.
Oh man, you should have seen how uncomfortable Arch got. It was so priceless.
Most people don't spend their days drawing arts of their friends in pornographic situations, Kyle.
The thing is, Arch, if you didn't see, it's all about how your friends react. If they react in a certain way, it's like, well, that's your nickname now. Shouldn't have fought it. Good stuff.
Marith.
You're going to hell.
All right. What else have we got? So, Glow in the Dark asks, how fast was the change? The change from normal to ideological crazy, like with your former friends? Like did you kind of see it? Was it on the horizon? Were you thinking, like, in retrospect, were you thinking, like, nah, it can't be? Or was it just like...
All of that. So, it's one of those things where I liken it to basically I escaped the cult. It turned into a cult.
Yep.
But the thing is, it's not a cult where everyone's wearing strange robes and stuff like that, and that they've inducted you or anything like that, right? It's a cult where it kind of gradually happens over time. So like looking back on it, I only noticed I noticed there were like some initial things that happened at first, and this is when I was working on Gravity Falls, so that was around 2015, 2016. But it would only like maybe happen once or twice, like sparsely. Like it happened, but it rarely happened, and so you were just like, oh, that was weird, and then you're just like, it's probably just one of those things, right?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a slow brew where initially you just raised the occasional eyebrow, like that was what? No,
yeah,
that's probably a joke.
It's sad, isn't it? Because it happened slowly. It happened to some of our team members when all that shit started coming down, where they'd be like, "Oh, I think that's problematic," or they'd wig out over a joke or something.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, "Oh, okay." Like, and then you try talking about it. You talk about it, and you talk them down. Like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." They'd be like, "I'm sorry, overreacting." I'm like, "Don't worry about it, man. We all blow up." And then, like, a couple months later, it gets worse and worse, and it just keeps escalating until they just either A, leave you, or B, disavow you in front of everyone else.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me online. Yeah.
Yep.
Sadly, but no, that's exactly right. It happened. It was like a car crash in slow motion, and it wasn't until I was like, I guess, desperate for work and stuff like that I realized exactly what had happened. And it was I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment of mourning because in a sense, my people who I thought were my friends had I guess in a sense died or something, even though they were still alive. You know what I mean? They changed and they weren't the same people anymore, and that was shocking to me, because to me I thought stuff like that happened over like 10 or I guess, a long time, over 20 years, and it seemed to just happen kind of like in the span of like 1 to 3 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really shocking to me. Like I had trouble like coping with that aspect of it. It was
Oh yeah.
because I had no idea people could turn that quickly. It was bizarre to me.
I think when it happens to pretty much everybody I know, and when it happened to me too, like it's not something that you'll ever forget.
Yeah.
And it
exactly.
is hard to explain, because it's like you see your best friend or like family member, you know, and you love them, and then they turn on you in an instant, and they're just gone. They're not there anymore.
Well, for me, I mean, with that makes sense, right? Because that's a family member, right? That's like someone you've grown up with.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a little different because Hollywood is obviously a massive shithole. Like Los Angeles is just, it's Sodom and Gomorrah and Babylon all rolled into one. Because the other thing that I really was struggling, that I just couldn't come to terms with until like recently, was that I was one of them. I was part of the cult for a little while, and I didn't even realize it. Like, that's how pervasive the mind virus is. It's like, it wasn't until I hit rock bottom that I realized exactly who I had become, and that was a real shocker to me. Like, I wasn't coping very well when I realized that either. So there was kind of like a long road of recovery for myself, because part of, and you've probably heard this trope as well. It seems to be, and I think I have a better understanding as to why. Part of the trope of being successful in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and this is true in I think also for a lot of modern day mainstream journalists, is that they tend to abuse a lot of substances like drugs and alcohol. And I was doing the same thing, and that's because your nervous system is trying to tell you that something isn't right. And because you're living in denial, you start to imbibe these substances just to get through the day and sort of quote unquote quiet down your nervous system, even though your nervous system is very tuned into what's going on around it. But we are now, people are just like taught to ignore what's going on around them and what their body is telling them, and that kind of leads to a crash, in my opinion. So it was tough.
Well, at least you got out of it.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling a lot better and a lot happier now, so it's all good.
All right, Dorkhammer 40k asks, have you seen the Owl House?
No, but I know of it.
You know of it, okay.
There's a lot of history. No, there's way too much history there.
What is it? The Owl House?
No, it's just history between me and the showrunner of the Owl House.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah. Well, if you don't want to get into it here, then it's fine.
Well, I mean, part of the thing is like I've tried to put most of that behind me. Yeah, it's a whole other story, and I'm trying to promote my campaign right now.
Understandable.
Like, listen, I just want to shield my product, okay?
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
That is more than fair.
Answer any other questions?
Well, light-hearted one, Firefly, Tom and Jerry, or Looney Tunes?
Both, because Friz Freleng. Oh, sorry, Chuck Jones directed both of those, didn't he? At some point in his career, right?
I have no goddamn clue.
When it comes to the animation world, I'm not super acquainted anymore. I stopped learning about
I
it.
know Tom and Jerry, but beyond the angry black woman beating Tom over the head with a broom, that's about where my knowledge ends.
Well, I know for sure, like, Chuck Jones was the one that made Looney Tunes famous in the first place, and I'm pretty sure he worked on Tom and Jerry as well. So I would say both, though I do like the older Looney Tunes the most, because that was just the animation quality and the music quality, and the quality overall was like pretty high, because those were the ones that they made specifically before the era of television, when a lot of those would just be played up on theater screens, like before big showings and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was movie stuff.
Yeah. So I would say Looney Tunes. Though I love Tom and Jerry as well. But like that's really great stuff also.
All right. No Pants Baby asks, you could, or says, you could go through make ship for the plushies, dodge the upfront cost.
Make ship.
I do not know what that is either, but I'm supposing
It may be
it's
like
some kinda...
Redbubble, like another manufacturing thing where you can upload your own stuff and then they take a percentage of the revenue, but they can sell it and produce it.
Because I do know there are services that basically don't produce it until there are orders, and so they don't charge you. Because one of the issues with a lot of merch is if you want to do it yourself, you have to build up a storage yourself, and then you got to pay all of it up front.
Yeah. So yeah, they do like batch. These production places, they do like batch orders.
Yes,
more or less. Yeah.
But there are services like Redbubble and stuff now that will just make merch when it is ordered, and so all you need to do is lease basically your thing to them and go like, okay, here, you can use this design and put it on this and this, and when you sell it, I get X amount, you get Y amount, etc.
Well, yeah, that is true as well. I mean, I've got my own, because obviously I've done 2 previous campaigns where they've featured some merch. And I've got my own sort of producers and suppliers that I source, and they do an amazingly good job, and they have good turnaround times, and it's really good quality. So, but stuff like plushies, stuff like plushies, I'm interested into looking into, like who makes them, how they make them, what the quality is, stuff like that.
Well, there's this excellent company called Love Doll who.
Can't believe we went there.
very high quality plushies, trust me.
I bet.
Glow in the Ducks asks, how long does it take to make a minute of animation? All right, I'm going to say right away there, ballpark average, because that's a difficult one to answer.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I did a 1-minute animated trailer for Forsaken Gods 2, and that took me about 6 months. That's because I was me just trying to, I guess, learn the ropes and see what I could do and what I could get away with. With this one, I'm trying to streamline it and have not as many cuts, just to lighten the workload and try and get it done as quickly as I can with as few people as possible. So I'd say from anywhere between 1 year to 2 years I'm aiming for, but don't quote me on that because sometimes things happen. So,
all right. Ibian666, what's the profit margin on plushies and other physical stuff? Well, have any of us made plushies?
I haven't made plushies, so I'm not sure. Usually with the other stuff, you try to at least get, at the very minimum, get like a third of whatever it is that the price is selling for. Because obviously you gotta like pay to get it made, and then you gotta pay to get it shipped. Ideally, it would be like half, but I'm trying. It's like this fine, as I said, it's a fine balancing act between making profit and giving the customer value for money. Like you're not gouging them or anything like that.
Yeah, like that is, and that is also very much so a show of character, honestly, because I do know YouTubers that have made merch, and they've built their entire career on being very personable.
Yeah.
And then merch comes out and it costs like $50 for a sweatshirt. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Very affordable homeware, no doubt.
I know. I don't really subscribe to that because, in my opinion, a lot of those YouTubers, they tend to. It's kind of weird or a little creepy because it's like they're kind of like creating this cult of personality around sort of themselves in this channel, which, I mean, that kind of goes against my philosophy. I'm more about, making the best work I can, and I want people to be a fan of my work.
Yep, and not you.
That I make, and not necessarily me, like, because I'm boring, guys. I'm just a business skeleton, all right? Like, there's not really much I can do outside of business and skeletonness.
So you elevate your work above yourself. Oh,
exactly. I try to, yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. Dotia Mists says, have you considered approaching companies like Daily Wire? They are getting into children's entertainment. Might be worth a look.
I get asked this a lot. I have no idea how to get in contact with those guys.
Yeah, this is one of the things. As somebody who has, we've got the family business. We sell robotic tool changes and specialized parts. These big companies, they don't have emails. They don't have contact people. Getting in contact with these is fucking impossible. Like we've been trying, for example, to get in direct contact with IMD. What was it?
IMDb.
No, the people who make processors.
Oh, IBM.
IBM. There you go. Thank you. For some reason, the name just like bluff.
It's not a name. It's an acronym.
It probably means something fancy. But we've been trying to get into direct contact with them for like 2 years now because they keep having the dumbest problems that could be solved in like a 2-second phone call. Like, okay, you can't put 50 kilograms on it. The fucking robot can't handle it.
Yeah.
And we have to go through their supply because they've got supplies every time. So they got to send us an email. Then we have to send them an email. Then they have to patch that email over to them. And then they need to respond. And the dumbest thing takes a week to respond to. Like, it is hell to get in contact with these companies.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is actually retarded.
I mean, I get it because you got to filter out the crazies, but you also cut yourself off to any promising new projects or talent. But it is what it is. I'm just trying to do my own thing, and I'm pretty sure I would probably have to sign the rights to Random Saga over to them if they picked it up. So I'm not too keen to do that right away.
Reasonable. Juho Volinko asks, ask if Fresher has seen other indie-esque animators, etc., that he'd recommend, and has he seen the Astartes one before GW Bullshit or other 40k fan projects?
I did see Astartes. Yes, I did see that. Yes, that was beautiful. That was an amazing project.
Yes.
I could see how he could have got it done as quickly as he did. Because obviously the Astartes, it's like you just have to model one set of armor and then just duplicate it like X number of times.
Yep.
But
even then, like that fluidity of motion is difficult.
It's easier now with 3D, I think, especially with Blender. I think they've got tools where you can kind of like it kind of bakes in some of that ease in, ease out, kind of like fluid kind of motion into the animation curve lines. I think. Are there any other animated freelance or independent animators that I can recommend? There is Knights of the Light Table. Have you guys heard of these guys?
Knights of the Light Table.
Yeah.
Nope. But I'm gonna pull them up.
So they do music videos for
Light Table.
What's the name of that guy?
Oh, these guys.
Yeah,
Wait.
Danny Sexbang and the Games Grumps guys.
Starlight Brigade.
Starlight Brigade is one of my favorites. I actually worked with them on
Oh wow.
the Mystic Crystal music video. I did storyboards for that. They're really good. They're very talented. I forget like the name of the guy who runs Knights of the Light Table is escaping me. Patrick something. I'm sorry, Patrick. But Patrick and India Swift and all those guys, they're very talented, and it was a great experience working with them after everything I'd been through. And just seeing it. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep,
So I
okay,
basically did
sure.
boards for the majority of it. Oh no, that's Starlight Brigade. Mystic Crystal is the one I did.
Mystic Crystal. I will find it. Hold on.
But anyway, we don't have to talk about it, but that's one off the top of my head that I can recommend. There's the Long Gone Gulch people, Tara Billinger and Zach Bellissimo. They're really good independent animators. I used to know Tara back when I worked at Disney. She worked on the Mickey Mouse shorts, and her cubicle was always... I would always cross her cubicle when I was going to where I was at. and it was always filled with all of these like wall to wall, just all these amazingly colorful, different shaped kind of simple toys. It was a very interesting decoration.
Glow in the Dark asks, favorite underrated or not well known cartoon?
Man, these questions, they're so hard. I would probably say, I got to think about that one. I mean, because Iron Giant has been, it's coming into appreciation now these days, but it wasn't appreciated back in the day.
Yep.
The only one I could think of is maybe Super Ted, from the BBC.
Super Turd?
Super Ted. Super Ted.
Okay. An eyebrow raiser there. Super Turd. Well, I mean, that's
no. It's about this teddy bear. This toy teddy bear. He gets brought to life by this alien. And the alien takes him to Mother Nature, who grants him magical powers, and he turns into this like superhero. And he fights his enemies. His arch nemesis is this skeleton. Haha, funnily enough, a cowboy and a retarded person.
Skeleton, a cowboy, and a retarded person.
Yeah.
See, in my mind's eye now, I just am playing this movie as Super Turd, honestly. And he does so primarily by ambushing them via the toilet.
Oh,
no,
God.
well, I mean, you sure. I mean, I feel like that has legs, and you should run with it.
I think I might. I do have a lot of starving artists to pay at some point.
So that's my answer.
Let's see. I think this is the last one, unless Kyle's picked up on anyone. Inverted Y-axis says, if Random Saga attains some level of success and/or popularity, would you continue to flesh out beyond the original scope, akin to something like Primal, or is it a one-off story?
Probably the first bit. Because I do want to do more with these characters and do more interesting things. Like there's drama and humor and stuff like that. And the stories are smaller right now because obviously I can't really expand the scope as much as I want to. But if the stars align and the gods look down upon me and grant me their favor, and it does become popular and successful to the point where I can hire other artists on board, then yeah, I would want to add more characters, like antagonist characters, more supporting characters, different locations, more monsters, and I guess just higher production quality. The thing with animation is like more hands make lighter work, and lighter work means that whoever has that particular task can really focus their energies on it the most and make it look the best that it can, rather than say just being a one-man band and having to spread your energies out further to sort of achieve less than ideal results, so to say. So
more time for attention to detail, yeah.
More time for attention to exactly. You passed it down to a very succinct phrase. Thank you.
All right. Kyle, have you found any that I missed?
Aren't there some super chats?
Oh, I'm sure there are, but
You can't see your supers?
I can see my supers. I was asking for questions, like just normal questions, Kyle.
All right, I was gonna ask him, how did you feel about when Disney's animations team basically got fucking axed? After what was it, Treasure Planet?
Oh, the 2D animation team?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a sad day because
What a loss.
I know. Well, it's because Pixar, I think it was Toy Story, did incredibly well. And one of the things is when you've been in Los Angeles or Hollywood as long as I have, and you've seen kind of how the studios behave around each other, it's like a case of the blind leading the blind. Like whenever one studio makes a massive hit, or a big hit comes out of the blue, then all the other studios look at that and they start copying that.
That's
right away. I know, right?
Oh.
But it doesn't just extend to that. Like there was a time, I think, when Young Justice first came out, and that was really popular and very well made. But it was on the heel end of all the studios axing all their action shows, because according to all of these executives, there were only two genres: comedy and action. There was no in between. And if you were to come up to them and say, "Hey, it's comedy, it's a comedy action hybrid," they'd be like, "What? That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how this could be a thing. We're not going to pick this up." Right? But the reason was I'm trying to remember. It's like one action show, I forget where, like did abysmally for whatever reason. Like the merch wasn't selling, and it might have been Young Justice. And so, because obviously these shows, the only way they make money is through merch sales. If it doesn't make any money, then like, well, we got to axe the show Young Justice, right? But the thing is like a lot of young girls were watching Young Justice because, it had the thing that a lot of young girls really like, which was, very fit and attractive young men in like Superboy and Arrow. And it's kind of like, how young girls like boy bands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they just weren't making the merch for that particular audience demographic who were watching the show. Like all they understood was action is for boys. Let's just make a bunch of action figures, and if they don't sell, then I guess it's a failure. So, and then all the other action shows got axed because all the other studios saw that Young Justice got axed, and then you couldn't get a job as an action storyboard artist, or you couldn't get work as a storyboard artist on an action show because they just weren't hiring because they weren't making them.
Yeah, that's the problem with the industry, and that goes for the gaming industry too. Everybody follows trends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs.
Execs aren't very intelligent. It's
no, they're not. As we've established.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I'm all for making undress dolls of DC heroes. Honestly, that's fine.
Yeah.
Did you ever
Something
see
for the women to enjoy too?
Did you ever see Atlantis: Lost Empire?
Yes.
What was your takeaway from that movie?
I liked that Mignola, I forget how to pronounce his last name, was kind of like a creative consultant on that, and you could sort of see his fingerprints in it here and there. It had a lot of promise and potential. I guess it kind of fell a little flat towards the end.
Because the movie flopped because a lot of people didn't think that kids would like the mature themes in it, and so it just sort of bombed at the box office, if I remember right.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing, and that was the same problem with Iron Giant, is that these executives, they get presented something different and unique, and then because they're all idiots and they've only been taught how to do things one way, they don't know how to market stuff like that effectively, and so they just don't give it much of a marketing budget, and so nobody knows about it, and so nobody goes and watches it.
We did also get a super chat. This is a good question from Rare Fox for 2 Brazili bucks to say or ask, is Clip Studio X good for animation? I want to animate. The AT there.
I haven't used it, so I can't say. The programs that I'm using for this 10-minute animated short, there are 2 of them. For the storyboards, I'm using Toon Boom Storyboard Pro, and then for the animation and composition, cleanup, in-betweens, and color and lighting, I'm using a program called Toon Boom Harmony, and these are kind of like the industry standard programs that all the big studios use. It was from a Canadian company, I think, and it's a really powerful program. I really enjoy using it. It's very easy to use. Very expensive though. So, I mean, if you want to try out Clip Studio Pro or X, I forget which one it was.
Clip Studio X.
Clip Studio. I feel like Clip Studio X is like some kind of porno, but
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. But I mean, like a really good program that I would recommend you use that's free is Blender, because Blender has Grease Pencil, and everyone's using it. It's a very powerful tool, and they're always making add-ons and patches for it to help with the usability interface and stuff like that. So I would recommend you try and use that for animation.
Mm-hmm. I do know that
Blender is very much so on the up and up right now. I've heard a lot of very nice things about it.
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, I struggle with it just because I haven't had time to really sit down and learn it properly. But yeah, it's really, really powerful, really good. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. There's a lot of suggestions. I was going to mention to Rare Fox that you can actually poke at our lead artist Sala in the Discord because you're in the same Discord as him. At Sala, he is our lead artist, and he's also doing the portrait animations using Clip Studio. So if you already have Clip Studio and you were curious on how it works, go ahead and shoot him a DM, and I think he'll get back to you. Just in case you already bought it.
You wanna give him tips? He might weaponize this knowledge.
Well, considering the horrific... Okay, so context. Rare Fox is a gosh darn degenerate. You may not know this, but this motherfucker has turned everybody and I know into a goddamn My Little Ponies. He needs help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I'm saying,
I guess
he might weaponize any animation skills he gains.
We're giving him helpful tips here, but I don't think this is a good thing for humanity.
If you don't want this to arrive on the internet, you best pay me $250.
Extortion is the game. Interesting.
All fan art is fan art.
True. Every hole is a goal.
That's not where I was going, but sure.
Move on to the super chats, which YouTube has now, of course, deleted. Like, Kyle, this is your fucking fault. You were like, you can't see the super chat? Of course I can. I can see them right there. And that was the moment when YouTube delete this shit.
So, yet again,
I gotta waffle over to the goddamn
do it. Look at that
monetization thing.
Whenever he messes up. Now, Boog donates 20 tacos to say, Young Justice should have stayed axed. Ooh, Boog. He's mad.
No, I get that, because I think they put out a recent new season that is not that good. I haven't really been keeping up to date with it, but I heard that it wasn't up to par of previous Young Justice seasons.
Yes, if the story starts dropping, because for me, story is always a essential part as a writer myself. So I kind of like to enjoy the stories. Art is good, but
yeah,
I gotta have characters I can get behind.
Exactly. You need a little steak with that sizzle.
Yeah, everybody likes steaks and their stories. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. We need more steaks. God damn it! Higher stakes, bigger stakes, juicier steaks.
We go down that rabbit hole and we keep fighting, like, well, now we're fighting the universe, and now we're fighting the universe of the universe.
No, then we're fighting a universe of tasty steaks.
Oh, if we win, do we get all the steaks?
That's the plan.
It's going to be an awful lot of male characters if you need to get behind all of them, but such is life.
We need steak.
Marked Ashamed says, for now, we only see the Corpo pump up review score. We haven't seen them intentionally dump review scores.
I imagine they
see that's the next step right there. Okay, so a company wants its corporation, its competition to fail, right? So it's just going like,
oh,
what
God.
if? See, no, this is how we get the Corpo Wars from Cyberpunk. This is the next step towards our Cyberpunk dystopia.
Oh. Chat clarifies on the Young Justice thing. They're saying that the new reboot stuff is very woke, apparently.
Yeah, that's
allegedly. What surprised me.
Yeah. See, it's still going on. It's not improving, Ark. How dare you be positive?
Hold on.
It'll keep on a while longer. But...
Before you two go at it again, which is, beautiful and all that, Luke, you can't call him Ark or Arch. That's stupid. We fixed his name and added a B to it for Barch.
Barch?
Yep, his name is Barch now.
You're retarded. Don't make other people retarded.
I've gotten every guest to call you Barch. Razorfist called you Barch. It just keeps happening.
I don't know. I'm new here. I'm just repeating. I'm the new guy, just trying to get along.
Don't worry. We'll have you situated before long.
We'll see if we won't get to the breed kibs eventually.
That's not.
Lucky Leo 25 says, Arch, you want to mention Anita's protection racket. Does Jesse Jackson AI Al Sharpton mean nothing to you? See, Anita's Archesian was my first protection racket, okay? Because I was an innocent, naive, blue-eyed little Norwegian when this popped up. And I was watching a lot of Jim Sterling at the time because he was doing the Jimquisition and he was actually pretty good. He had legitimate complaints about the gaming industry. And he was talking about Anita Sarkeesian at one point. And I was basically saying, if everybody had just ignored her, she would have made her little stupid thing and then she would have gone away. And at the time, I was like, maybe. But now I know she would not have gone away because this was a whole thing. She was already in the industry. She was already, advising gaming companies on how to adapt her politics. Like, if we had ignored her, she would have been worse. At least now, Anita Sarkeesian is nowhere.
It's like a chicken and the egg scenario, right? It's like there's that old argument that Batman's villains make, where it's like, if Batman wasn't there, would his villains have appeared as well in response to him? You know what I mean?
Oh no, because the comic book is called Batman.
I know, but like in the logic of the fiction, one of the arguments that people make against there being a Batman is that if Batman hadn't showed up, if Batman hadn't become a thing, then there wouldn't have been a Joker. Argument. There wouldn't have been a right. And so it's the same thing with Donald Trump, right? If the big networks like CNN hadn't continuously reported on him, would he have become president?
If the left hadn't been the left, he would not have become president. Like, any Donald Trump presidency was a joke. And in a normal circumstance, it would have been a joke, because he has no political pedigree, nor does he have a whole lot of political acumen either. But in a world where a lot of people just want to stick it to the people who are actively sticking it to them, he was the best candidate by far. Particularly in comparison to goddamn Hillary. Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, that same thing goes for Anita. Like, you say she would have been worse, but
She's
if we'd
still...
all just gone, if you think about it, let me make this point. If we had all gone about it, we're like, oh, okay, some chick is complaining, and we just not given it the time of day. Instead, people like dunked on her, and in dunking on her, there is this phenomenon where people see a woman becoming a victim, and some switch flicks in their head. And they go, oh, well, this one's a victim. I better give her things. And so she capitalized on that victim status that people inadvertently awarded her by being critical of her, because I guess people somehow conflated being critical to being a bully.
Mm-hmm.
So
she still has sway in the industry. Apparently she was invited on, I don't remember which game, only a couple months ago to do advisory stuff for again.
Yeah,
a little bit, but nothing compared to what she was. And my counter argument to that is that Anita Sarkeesian was not the wave. She was the breaker. She was the bubbly tip.
I guess
she
so.
was a precursor of things to come. And because her entire victim narrative didn't come about because she was bullied. We have evidence that she sent herself threats. Like, this was an intricate part of her business strategy.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, they totally do that. Like, if they can't get the attention naturally, they'll generate it artificially. But the thing is, it's like, it's like, in a sense, she was kind of like the thing that tipped that snowball down the hill that turned into a giant snow boulder.
She was the first truly obvious example, but it would have gone on in the background, and it would just have been somebody even worse in another year's time. Plus, the mobilization effect of Anita Sarkeesian was actually quite beneficial for our side, because we got a lot of good content creators out of it. Now, most of them fell by the wayside a long time ago, but you got people like Saga, who's created his own business now, his own media company. Like, if not for Anita Sarkeesian, ironically enough, I guess, he might still have been an office employee.
Yeah, and that whole, I was there for the whole skeptic sphere when it was born. So
yes,
no, you are right.
It turned into quite of the shit show, man.
It did. But there's still a few of the former members like bouncing around still. So,
and hey, if it wasn't for Anita Sarkeesian, I would still be a blue-eyed Norwegian, and my channel would be 3 times the size, because it would also have leftist people on it.
Yeah, well, this is the world we live in now, so time to get used to it, I guess.
Welcome to the schism, brother.
Welcome to the darkest timeline.
We fucked up.
I'll take some solace in the fact that I've managed to drive people away from Kyle with my reputation.
He unironically did.
My schadenfreude is strong.
Oh, God. See, when Barch collaborated, Oh, I had 2 waves of that fucking SJW crap.
When
First
Arch
time
collaborated.
First time was when Trump was going for office, right? My uncle disavowed me publicly to a bunch of other developers. So that was great. So then, after being disavowed, I was like, fine, I'll fucking make my own game with blackjack and hookers, indie style. And so I went off and did my own thing. Then I meet Arch, some blonde bimbo, and he fucking does a collaboration with Sargon. His collaboration somehow makes a part of the team leave, and causes me to lose subscribers. They're like, disavow Arch. I'm like, you're not. What? Over what? And he's like, he collaborated with he who can't be named. Like, what are you talking about? Who? Some British guy? Fucking, I don't care. Oh my god. Like, this stuff.
I did you a favor.
I know, but it's one of those things that is cancer. Like, we've all been affected by it in some way, whether big or small.
Yeah.
Chloe says, Steven Universe is really weird. It's okay to fuse with other people, kids. What really got me was Steven literally being his mum, which brings out a lot of uncomfortable questions.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it's Freud, isn't it? Like, so, would you like to have sex with your mother?
No, it's, I think it's much darker machinations than that.
Oof.
Shall I go into it?
Might
into
as well.
theory?
You tease chat. You can't hold back now.
All right. So if you think, I'll try and explain it as clearly as I can, because obviously it's a bit obscure. But no, I mean, it is a good point that he touches on in that Stephen is his mother, but he's not. And I kind of think this was Rebecca's way of sort of, because she's all about being subversive. And she would tell me this herself. She was like, "Oh, you can subvert people's expectations in a good way and get by, standards and practices in the studio." And so I think the whole thing with Stephen being his mother, but being a boy, and his mother having done quote unquote war crimes before she quote unquote gave birth to Stephen is an allegory to becoming trans. Because
Trans
one of the
is a war
aspects.
crime. Okay, I can agree on this.
No. Well, if you think about it, it's like Rose Quartz did all these terrible things, and one thing is that I could be completely off base of this, and please tell me if I'm wrong, chat, or anybody else. I'm totally open to being told I'm wrong. But one of the things about being trans is, you're kind of ditching your old identity, your old persona, and all the things and baggage that went along with that, and sort of transforming into a quote unquote new person with a new name. And so in a sense that you're kind of absolving yourself of any previous sins, so to say.
I mean, I love the implication, because it's like, well, Hitler, if he's trans, then, he changed to person. He's just different now, Can't judge him.
Well, that is what they say. That is what they say.
That's so beautifully fucked up.
I now have the mental image of Hitler with just a severed penis on a chopping block in front of him as he ascends, like arms spread wide in the Jesus pose.
He's like, you can't touch me. And they're like, yeah, I guess you didn't really commit those crimes. It was a different person.
There was a thing a while ago. Oh, no, it was actually very recently. There was a gay protest, like protest march, because Pride never ends these days, in England. And there was a dude there who had been at the Stonewall riots, and he'd been a gay rights advocate since like 1970 or something. Like, no, old guy, well-known, very respectable person, who got his shit kicked in by a bunch of trans activists. And as bad a person as it makes me, I can't help but think, like, go back 70 years and tell this person, you're going to get your shit kicked in for your beliefs. And he was like, I will never bend to your homophobic bigotry. I didn't say I'm going to do it.
Yeah. It's going to be your own people, dude.
But I mean, this is a hammer of your own making. Yeah,
well, that's the whole part about gender Marxism and woke Marxism and feminist Marxism. It's like, it's all Marxism, and Marxists always end up eating their own, and the ones who end up on the receiving end of that, they will still, even though they're getting absolutely ripped to shreds, they'll be like, well, I still support the party. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a sad...
I still stand for this. Yeah, but this has now been subverted. This is now their platform. Like, the person who beat your ass, this is theirs now.
Yeah. So... Brave new world, guys.
Not in the way you'd hope, though.
No, this was definitely not on my bingo card. I'll say that.
We got the wrong bingo cards.
Yeah. Well, it is the darkest timeline, so I feel like we need to get new ones.
Mark Shame says, maybe Rings of Power bombed so hard Amazon is looking to squeeze more money from Twitch. Yeah, that was the thing too. Twitch was reducing people's cut, weren't they?
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Like Twitch already is worse YouTube. Like if you becoming a YouTuber is almost fucking impossible. Like you need a combination of skill, luck, and sheer dogged perseverance to even have a hope.
And
but
a bigger
becoming
friend
a
than
Twitch
you.
streamer, like there are people who have died because they're just streaming 24/7 because that is the only way you can make it there. Like you have to stream.
Even then, that's not gonna work because like Twitch is such a fickle audience. Like I do multi streams and I've streamed on Twitch for years now, and I've got a decent babyish following that puts me in like the fucking 20% bracket, which is basically like 10 people. But that's after years of doing it. And even with the most high quality stuff and edits and things like that you can possibly do, you are in a market where everybody is trying to compete. YouTube is a little easier, and you need to make connections. Having friends is an important thing, because when you get knocked down on your toes or on your feet, so off your feet, you need somebody that can help you bounce back. And that's what I use this little blonde bimbo here for.
Cool. Well, I'm screwed.
Wow.
You're not screwed. You're making connections right now. You're already doing the right thing.
Oh, you're right. Hooray!
You're winning,
We do expect
kid.
a lot of free work from the people we help, but such
Yeah, I
is life.
want like 40 animations to get to work. No,
It'll
I'll pay-
cost you. I don't work for free, buddy.
Here, I'm sure you'll love this line. I'll pay you an exposure.
Exposure is only good for homeless people, and they die from it.
That is a very practiced retort, my good man.
Yes.
You have done
I've
this
had people
line
pay
too
me
much.
exposure, make those kind of payment offerings so much that I got that to a fine art.
Now, have you
That's
ever?
a very good retort.
Do you do commission animations? In case anybody in chat's curious, like for big
I mean,
monies.
I do, and this is the thing. Like one thing is all dependent on the other. So if I raise a lot of money on this campaign or any potential future campaign, enough where I could start my own animation studio, then I can sort of start and bringing on other artists, and then that's when I can start taking jobs from other clients. You know what I mean? It's like more feasible. Then I can say, well, how many minutes do you want? What are you looking for in levels of quality? X, Y, Z. How many talking characters are there going to be? And then I can kind of like give them a more accurate price quote and also a delivery date, because there's more people doing it as well.
Mhm.
Sorry, did I bamboozle you with my answer?
No, good answer.
Okay.
It's a reasonable answer. I mean, you only have so much time, and you've got your baby project. Your baby project always takes precedence over everything else.
True. Very true, yeah. And my day job.
Yeah, well, yeah, that puts the money on the table.
Yeah. And food and bills and rent. Yeah.
Yep.
Got to keep the lights on.
Exactly.
Lucky Leo 25 says, "Hail Arch! Last week's podcast, you referred to the Sami as a nation of losers." Hold on there. I just said they were conquered. Okay,
Whoa.
which they
I mean,
were.
Hold on,
yeah,
he
I
says
mean, you
worse
can't-
things than that.
I mean,
Yes.
you can't be any less of a loser if you've been conquered. So,
Yeah, you're already at the bottom of the barrel. It's like, be quiet, you.
yeah.
And I do have a
Oh.
few bones to pick with the Sami.
I do love that meme. It's like if you if you wanted it to be different, my ancestors beat yours.
Like it's the final retort I've arrived after many years of actually trying to argue, and I was like, okay, we conquered you. Silence.
Whoa. Whoa.
A woke person may refer to them as a nation of victims. So what do you think the idea of victims and losers as being synonymous? Well, see, that's the thing. I attribute a bit more of a moral dimension to victim. Like, if I were to call somebody a victim, they would be a victim of a crime or a great injustice. It would be something terrible done to them. It would be a victim of an earthquake. You can't stop a fucking earthquake. but you are not a victim of your ancestors being conquered 500 years ago. Fuck you. Like that ship has sailed a very long time ago. It's like my father was in the Great Earthquake of 1842. Right? Okay.
It doesn't really
Well,
matter
have you rebuilt
anymore.
yet?
Well, the other thing is that usually by that stage you then transition from being a victim to being a survivor.
Yes.
There's a big difference between the two as well.
It's like, if anything, at that point, I would just quote, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," because
Exactly.
it's been a while now.
Yeah.
I actually quite like Sargon's analysis of this, in that native people just means primitives, because it's kind of true. Like, okay, you probably don't know who the fuck the Sami are, but they're this. There's a little local population in northern Norway and northern Finland and northern Sweden who call themselves the Sami. And they're a very, very disparate peoples group who have a loose common tradition, language, fashion sense, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They haven't had a nation for God only knows how many hundreds of goddamn years. And now they pretty much just squat on other people's property. And they have this idea, because it was never a problem before, because we were there before. Then they arrived and went like, "Can we settle here?" It's like, "No." "Are you going to kill us?" "No." "Well, then we're going to do it." "Oh, fuck."
That's the exact exchange. That's exactly how it went down.
Pretty much. But they have over the last 10 years figured out that, hold on, we're a native people. This gives us all kinds of rights and privileges. And so they've gained special concessions to be able to do the raising of rain, like reindeer, which nobody else is allowed to do, because reindeer are a fucking stupid ass goddamn animal that requires ridiculous amounts of territory to be even remotely sustainable.
Yeah.
So you have to close off enormous areas for these fuckers to conduct their habitual business. Yeah. They have their own form of government, Sametinget. We've given them so much. And the only thing this has achieved is make them whine harder, which is why I have a bit of distaste for the Sami people.
No, I mean, that's true. Yeah, if you give a starving dog a bone, he'll go away, but he'll come back and he'll bring his friends. So, yes. I mean, I know initially it's people are like, well, I want to do the right thing and help someone out, but sometimes helping someone means just giving them space to be independent and be themselves.
Yep.
Which should have no bearing on you backing this campaign right now. Please back today.
Of course, the usual ass covering. I don't mind Sami people. I do mind the Sami people. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a fine distinction.
There you go.
The Grizzly says, "Hey, Botch, what do you think of the new Space Dwarf Codex now that it's fully released? And what do you think of the new 40k army?" So, I am actually debating with myself whether I should pick that abomination up, because I've had a couple of looks at some of the rules that have leaked online, etc., and I've talked to a couple of people who are still fairly deep in 40k, and I've seen the official announcements as well. So this rulebook was banned from all tournaments within hours of its release for being incredibly overpowered. And frankly, at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I don't think there's any subtlety I'm going to discover here. It seems to be a pile of shit.
I'm sure the new diversity hires were responsible for writing that book.
They probably were. That's the thing. I don't know if you know what 40k is, but
no, I'm familiar with 40k and Warhammer and Space Marines. Yeah,
don't worry, that's a mark against you. It's like, what?
So GW has been doing this for decades now. Decades and decades and decades. At this point, they really should have writing law and writing rules, etc., pretty much down to an art form. There should be books in the GW office going "These are our biggest mistakes, newbie. Please do not repeat." And yet, it's the same fucking shit. It's Matt Ward all over again, where a book drops and it's blatantly overpowered. People don't even need to play it. They look at it and go, banned.
Wow.
That is an enormous fuck up.
That's effective gatekeeping.
It certainly does discourage people from getting into it, unless they're the kind of people who's like, "Yeah, I'm going to play this book."
Well, yeah. But those are the kids in the schoolyard you don't want to deal with anyway. So
They do tend to get banned from hobby stores awfully quickly, or at least get the reputation of being that guy.
yeah, definitely.
Well, yes, he brings an entire squat army with nothing but power armored shooting. Don't.
What he really should have done was do some sketches of Pearl and another character just hanging out. That would have got him in. Yeah.
I also just hate the general design of the squats because one, they're creatively bankrupt, and two, they're not fucking dwarves. They're just small people at that point. Let's see. Maranga2 says, "Greetings, folks. Kyle, I sent you the stuff on wolf walkers." Raises eyebrow. I figured you'd want to share it here. I guarantee you'll all like it. Kyle, this is more of your furry fan art.
Wolf walkers. This is something that might intrigue Luke.
Oh, is that... why does this sound familiar to me?
I don't know. But maybe it is. It's animation related. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up on stream, but I'm going to post it for you guys as well. I'm in too many servers. This is bad. In the guest room, I'm putting the link in this server.
Oh, from Cartoon Saloon.
What's this? Give us the deep lore.
Yeah. No, I know of Cartoon Saloon. They're an Irish animation studio. They've made 3 films now. I think one is called The Secret of Kells. Lots of people really seem to like their films.
Well, that's good for them.
Very folky is what it looks like.
Yeah, very, very, because they're tapping into a lot of Irish folklore and
I'm looking at that, and that was the first thing I thought too. Like, this looks very Irish now that you mention it.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Like that is actually, I like that. That's wholesome. Okay, it's like
that's
we have a whole tradition, we have a whole history, but it's been forgotten now for like 200 years. Let's delve into that.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is sort of I sort of have sort of like this mental thesis of sort of the importance of culture. I know we touched upon it earlier before, but just this idea of like how culture is kind of like the binding glue that keeps us together and keeps society together, because it sort of portrays ideas that we all agree on. They speak to deeper truths about not only ourselves but society at large, and what we think an ideal society should look like, and sort of the lessons behind that. So Cartoon Saloon is doing a good job of that. I think they're like tapping into a lot of their own unique culture and ideas, and sort of making it appealing to a modern audience as well, without having to resort to any kind of, I guess, bad habits, so to say, that have recently formed, if you know what I'm saying.
Now, I did just see one furry pin another furry to the floor, so.
Well, it's about Irish werewolves, so you know.
As long as it's not about Irish or New Zealand sheep, so I guess I'm happy.
Yeah. So I don't know, it looks nice. I like it.
Quite nice. Chloe says, "You think you got it bad? Just imagine the doctor being pressured to do trans kid surgeries because, paraphrasing the hospital administration, quote, it is the money maker and could pay all the operating cost of the hospital, so we will not take any objections at all," end quote.
I mean, there's a lot wrong with that.
It's like, don't worry, Timmy. I'm going to mutilate you. It will be permanent, and you're likely to kill yourself in a few years, but think of all the hospital bills you'll avoid.
Well, no, I mean, it's the same thing of when the defund the police thing was happening, right? It's the same.
See,
deal.
I am all for that. I am all for defund the police because you do it.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Because there were police who were seeing what was going on and they didn't like what was happening, and so they quit out of protest. And I feel like the same thing can be said about, doctors who are given the choice between performing these surgeries and not. And if they're being put pressure on to do that, I would say any doctor that's worth his salt, who understands the Hippocratic Oath, would be like, no, I'm not going to perform this surgery on this child. Like, none of the checks and balances have been exercised in this case. And, any doctor who has any, modicum of conscience wouldn't actively do that. So I think any doctors who do that, who would partake in that, action probably aren't doctors you should be going to see in the first place.
See, I agree, but at the same time, how many people are going to walk away from a $300,000 a year paycheck?
Yeah, but it like the $300,000 that's blood money, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's plenty of people making money off that too.
But I mean, though, like that's
most people, honestly, do not necessarily have that much of a moral compass. Not like
wait, weren't you the guy? Weren't you the guy who was all being positive just a few minutes ago?
He does this, by the way. He'll get used to it.
It's because they'll be pressured by the rest of society. Like most people's moral compass is based upon what society thinks.
Old Ark, who was all like, "I believe in humanity. Humanity is a shining light." And now we got current Ark, who's
It's
like,
a different arc, if you will.
I feel like I'm talking to two different Arks here.
You are.
It's simply how humanity functions. Like humanity was fine with selling kids for the longest goddamn time. We're still fine with selling people too. Most people today are still fine with selling people and using them as slave labor. In fact, there's more slaves today than there has ever been in human history. But we do develop morality as a civilization. Like this is why civilization is so much more important than species or race or anything like that. It is nationhood. It is our overall belief, and eventually it will probably be seen as morally repugnant. Like these doctors will probably at some point in the future be viewed as villains, and they will be doctors then saying, "Oh, I would never," just like you got workers now saying, "I would never."
Backpedaling now, Ark. You're backpedaling now.
But I do again say we should completely defund the police in any state that asks for it, then leave for a year, and we'll get back to that topic.
You have a roundabout way of sort of getting to your point that I really admire, Ark.
That's not a roundabout. That is the most direct path I can imagine.
That's not direct.
That's not direct.
That is absolutely direct.
See, Arch does this where he's like, I'm going to walk in a circle.
6 months to 12 months of just unobstructed violence, death, and murder, and the lesson will be learned.
See, you could take anything. You'd be like, pedophilia is bad. You'd be like, well, no, actually. And then his end statement will be like, yeah, it's bad because of all these things that accumulate. It's like, okay, Arch, thank you. He likes to take us on
It is a roundabout way. He is getting it.
He loves scenic routes, okay? And you know what? Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes.
I could defend pedophilia on the position of an influencer.
Oh my god. No, please, I'm trying to make this a clean stream. I'm trying to promote my campaign for all ages, guys. Come on.
It's a pretty good campaign, chat. You should check it out. I put the link in chat 30 times. You blind little bastards. I'll do it again. They are blind, by the way. You have to tell them. Otherwise, they just don't know. It's surprising, right? Like, people won't like the stream, even though they're like, oh, I want to support the content creator. They just forget. You know, it's not their fault. But it is. You should feel bad, chat. It is your fault.
And also, I mispronounced the word. I said modicium when it should have been modicum. Someone in the chat pointed that out. Thank you.
You mispronounced pawn shop with porn shop too, but I didn't point it out.
That's my accent. That's my fucking accent.
I quite enjoyed it too.
I've spoken to enough Australians to know better.
Yes, exactly. That's actually a running joke in Australia, so whatever.
Kibbs is smarter than you, Barch. I'm better at linguistics. Look at that.
It's still a mispronunciation. Whether it's a dialect or not, it's still a mispronunciation, Kyle. You barely speak English yourself.
Sit in your chair. You don't speak American like me. You're jealous.
That is most assuredly true, yes.
I speak American. You speak English. We're not the same.
America.
Black 1917 says, Squeak and Hail Arch Christ, our Lord and Savior. Breed Kibbs. Hi, new person.
Hello.
That's Luke. That's the new person.
Yes.
Black 1917 also says, The Owl House is a apparently good show that expertly showcases Disney's hypocrisy on woke. It is an isekai about a boyish-looking little girl who can use magic and is a confirmed lesbian.
I know the whole thing behind the Owl House.
And gets in a romantic relationship with another girl. See,
yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing that pisses me off. 10 years ago, I'd be like, lesbians?
No, well, this is different. It's preteen lesbians because Dana can't rub. She barely has 2 brain cells to rub together.
Oof.
Preteen lesbians.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's a whole different stream, guys. It's a whole different stream.
You dug your own hole, Arch. Cancel him, Chad.
Listen, I'm still saying I'd respond with lesbians, and then somebody would elaborate, and then I go, oh. Well, it was good while it lasted.
Your fetishes will
no,
be checked.
no, it wasn't. It never was.
Well, like
because it's like
says, oh, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say it was. I just want to make this point. It was a show whose target audience was supposed to be for kids, and it's a prime example, in my opinion, of content that is not appropriate for children, and it inserts itself between the relationship between a child and its parent.
Yep. Pretentious.
Father, why is that little girl kissing that other girl? Well, you see, there are deviants in our world, and you should avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster.
I see you're good at parenting thing, Arch.
See, that would be a difficult conversation too, because you can't just answer that as
I feel like that's the most straightforward and best answer. Like, well, you see, there's some degenerates out there, and they want to touch you in terrible ways. So if you see them, kill them.
And listen, in a Disney boardroom somewhere, there are some very sick people.
Yeah.
Drags out diagrams and shit. Like, let me explain.
Sit down, child.
Black 1917 says Disney hamstrung the show by cutting its budget at the last moment, despite its popularity before canceling it. I'm guessing that's in relation to Young Justice.
No, that's the Owl House. I think.
Is it?
I think so, but that's not what happened. So once again, the showrunner Dana Terrace, she absolutely hates authority, and she's actually like gone online and like in front of everyone like denounced her bosses, and then it didn't really get renewed for a whole third season. It got like renewed for half of a third season, and they just axed it right away because she was just so difficult to work with. And then she came out and basically, continued to rag on them and drag them as much as she could. And she couldn't figure out why the Owl House was getting
Why does
axed.
everybody dislike me so much?
No, again, it's a whole other stream. Like, I could tell you so many stories about her because I worked with her on Gravity Falls, and she's a piece of work, man. So what?
I said, you know all the deep lore then.
Oh, I am the deep lore.
Oh no.
There's a reason why I'm a skeleton, because I have just come out of the closet. Not in the way you're thinking.
Nope, too late. Clip it, chat.
Way.
Clip it while you can.
Don't clip it. Don't.
Send it to me. I'll hold it against him later.
Artemis Fowl says, E-hats wrong? Arch can't end the stream? What? Oh, that was last fucking week. I was starting to wonder, like, what are you on about? You see the little... See, I'm looking at the actual background now, and it's far more confusing. Where were we at? Mark Sham says, YouTube channel Leonardo of Biz is a great channel.
Leonardo
Take a word of it.
Is that a business company?
Well, I am a businessman, so, you know. So it makes sense.
Leonardo Biz.
Space Wolf Blackmane says, hey Arch and co, love the latest video. Really wish GW would get off their collective asses and give us more non-chaos break-off human factions. Daniel says, can you do a versus Iron Harvest world map campaign? Probably not. I wanted Iron Harvest to be good. It wasn't.
It wasn't. What happened? Where did they fall short?
They just didn't quite have the experience to make a good RTS game.
It doesn't have polish. Like, have you ever played a real-time strategy game, Luke?
I'm a gamer. The thing is, I saw a little bit of Iron Harvest. I think it would have benefited if they made it like a turn-based tactical RPG instead.
I think it would have flowed better because when the real-time strategy and real-time gameplay is actually extremely difficult to make. And the problem with their real-time strategy game is that while the animations for the mechs are absolutely fantastic, like the animations are so good, The problem is the gameplay of like infantry fighting and doing things kind of feels floaty and not really weighty when they were trying to imitate
the
things like
infantry
Company
combat
Heroes.
wasn't bad. I quite like that. It was just everything was slow. Like if you retreat to base, you're twiddling your thumbs for 2 minutes, solid, in a high octane RTS game. Like not fun.
You also had the problem where units would just do what kind of weird things when you really didn't want them to.
And the issue really was that they were huge fans of Company of Heroes, and they wanted to make Company of Heroes because Rollick wasn't at the time, and that was a good idea because I think people would like a good Company of Heroes. But Company of Heroes is a goddamn hard game to make, and they weren't the guys to make it, sadly. Tragic though that maybe.
Yeah.
Mark James says, we no longer follow codified laws. We now have to follow unspoken rules and unwritten laws, and they will punish you if you break them. Or they will simply make up a violation of them, and then punish you.
Yeah, that's true.
Very
true.
beneficial.
Yeah.
Very advantageous, for certain groups at least.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Glow in the Dark says, Marigold equals happy rich boy. I see what you did there. Was that what you did there?
He's rich in that he's rich in friends. Yes.
Sometimes people read into too much. I remember seeing that the other day when somebody was talking to the designer of, what was it, Silent Hill game? Like, what does this door mean? And the developer's like, you think too much. It's like, calm down.
Well, there's the marigold flower as well, right? And aphid is obviously in reference to a bug. So I just thought it would be funny, like, because obviously, like aphid, she like rides around on his shoulders a bit now and then, and he can pick her up and stuff like that because she's so small. So I thought it would sort of be funny. So she's kind of like the little bug that just kind of like perches on him.
My
the
God.
big flower.
Symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Glow in the Dark also says, Dog, bork, bork, bork. Party, great plan, Dog. Obviously the brains of the operation.
Well, I will say that sometimes Rexton does indeed talk through Marigold, because Marigold can talk to animals. But he only really gives as much information that is needed to be known in any given space and time.
Good. I wouldn't want to give away too much, after all.
Yeah.
Glow in the Dark also says, adventurers steal from tombs, crypts, and evil guys' houses. Take stolen goods to pawn shop to sell. Makes sense. It actually kind of reminds me of the Japanese take on this, because they've got a lot of realistic, quote-unquote, fantasy settings, where you've got the guild as an official institution and shit.
Sort of, but I mean, like, what, you're talking like most recent one, like Rising of the Shield Hero, right?
Kinda. I'm more talking about the smaller. There's lots of little niche ones where basically the hero isn't that much of a hero, and there's the world functions on RPG rules basically.
Yeah.
Like literal RPG rules.
Yeah, I mean, I have noticed that, and I don't, where like sometimes even like a score screen will come up or something, or a stat screen.
Yes.
Like, and it just takes you out of the immersion, like right then and there. I'm just like, well, I don't want to see this anymore. I'm not quite going that way. I mean, obviously, I'm going to make references to sort of RPG tropes and aspects to it, but more in like I guess like a nod or a bit of a chuckle kind of way, because there is a little bit of overlap with that in real life sometimes, if you think about it. Yep.
He also says, if you can't be an artist, have you ever had plans to invade Poland or ideas of 1,000 years Reich?
I prefer warmer weather.
Fair enough.
Well, I have always said that Hitler should have invaded Italy instead, so...
Yeah, if only he'd listened to you.
It would have been a much different future. We wouldn't have... Oh, actually, we would have had a lot of socialist work problems, never mind.
Yeah. Exactly.
At least we'd all be very healthy, because we'd be ordered out of our houses at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning every day to go on marches. But yeah,
I mean, I will say this. I will say this about Hitler. He's probably the most successful artist, because many years after his death, people are still fucking talking about him.
And his picture, his painting recently of like a house in Vienna, recently sold for a ridiculous sum of money.
Yeah, so good work, Hitler. All you had to do to become a famous artist was to strong arm your way into a political party in Germany and then take it over with fascism. Congratulations. If only all artists could be like you.
Looking up at us somewhere now and going, yeah, it's all into marketing.
It's all into marketing. Oh, I mean, it pays the bills.
I guess so.
Black 1917 says, shining spotlight on Anita also shine a spotlight on the consequences of listening to her. If not for her, woke friends and allies in the industry, she would have zero work or power. Well, yes, that was another thing. Say what you want about Anita, but she got the grift down to a fine art and the ability to literally use her connections. Like, because Anita never talked about anyone else, but she also always had an in. So there was a lot of useful idiots there, I imagine.
Oh, dude, yeah. And that's not only the same for the gaming industry, that's especially true in the animation industry. Just a lot of very weak men who just want to be seen as, hey, we're the good guys. You know, we like women. We want to support women. And just basically screwing themselves
modern day mating strategy.
Yeah, basically just give women, the shirt off your back, and maybe they won't destroy your life, guys. Maybe.
Problem is, the woman has gotten so used to your shirt now that it's just a thing that is done now.
Yeah,
it is no longer a noble gesture. It's just like, thank you, go away.
Yeah, exactly. They've taken it for granted.
Yes, literally, unironically.
Yeah.
Princess Luna, also known as Boog, says, tell us your darkest secrets. Have you ever had a Fur Affinity, Ink Bunny, or E621 account?
I don't know what any of those are, so I guess I don't.
He denied it too quickly, chat.
I'm sure Boog can enlighten you.
Like, are those websites?
Oh god, don't.
Yes.
Don't ask.
Okay. I'm assuming they're all furry websites, because I recognize like the word fur and fur affinity, so I'm assuming that's a furry website.
You've got that one pegged.
No. I'm pretty sure E621 dabbles in scalies as well.
Oh well, I mean, I use furries as kind of like a.
It's a catch-all, yeah.
A catch-all, yeah.
I'm far more pedantic, and we're gonna need to use terminology here correctly.
You know, I never guessed that from you from the time that I've been talking to you.
Oh, it gets worse.
Really?
Yes.
But he's been so well behaved so far.
No,
I don't understand.
He's in a good mood now. Wait when he's
I'm not
grumpy.
in a good mood, Kyle. I am sick to fucking death.
Wait till when he gets hungry. God help me.
Yeah, that's true. I do get a bit cranky when I'm hungry. It's fair enough.
You're not you when you're hungry. Like the Snickers commercial is applicable to him.
Do they have Snickers in Norway?
No, that's
we
the problem.
do, but it's
You
Norwegian Snickers, so they're small.
It was like clumps,
and they're 25% more expensive.
Oh, okay.
Glow in the Dark says, Kibbs, tell him about the pony art. Yes, do.
We did a stream, and oh god, they paid me to play My Little Pony something. They gave me a couple $100 to do that. We did that. Stream made about $1,000. Pretty good stream. Wow. Unfortunately, the byproduct of that stream was that we got fan art. And the fan art turned our mascot, which is Aerith, into Marith, which is, it's a little pony version, and it's gotten worse. It spread somehow to the developer team. My development team has now converted several of the characters from the main cast into MLP versions as well, because I think it's funny.
I'm sure Lauren Faust would appreciate that.
I'm sure somebody would appreciate that, if it wasn't me.
And if you look at Discord right now, he's underselling it, as his own avatar too is Marith.
I was paid $2,000 to have this as my profile picture.
Your
Quick
excuses does not matter, Kyle.
$2,000 is $2,000. Like, hey man, like I'm not gonna pass up $2,000.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's $2,000.
I'm not a brony.
How long do you have to have that up for?
$20.
I have to have it until 2023. As soon as it's 2023, I can take it off. And then chat
I
was
would
like,
have. I would have asked for like $5,000 if it was that long.
yeah, everyone says I underbid a little. I could have got more. Oh well.
Well, Kyle, your degeneracy got the better of you.
See, I feel guilty every time they do those big donos, like with the fishing stream for 4K. I was like, oh, I feel bad. But so we fished, and we fished until they begged me to stop fishing.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm telling you, get streaming.
I do stream.
Give link.
My YouTube channel is Fresher Luke.
I don't have this link. Give.
I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, actually.
Send it to me in DMs, and I'll put it on the stream.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, you should give me all your socials. I've been posting links to the thing.
They're pretty horrible. But,
oh, who cares about whether it's pretty horrible? Building up a following is going to help you.
True. Very, very true. Sorry, continue, Ark.
It's parched, but yes.
They've really fucking mobilized today, it seems like. 17 says, no, Arch, your channel would be a fraction F its size. Because the leftist crazies would drive everyone away before leaving themselves because they have no one left to bully and you've been brought to heel. No, see, at least it would have more subscribers. It might have fewer views, but that's fine. Yeah, nobody cares about that. Black917 says, you can now have sex on Twitch, and as long as it makes a lot of money, you'll only get a slap on the wrist. Well,
that is true now. That is true, yes.
I mean, if I was going to do Twitch, I guess that would be the way to do it, but it would guarantee a pretty short run, I imagine, which would be beneficial.
Yeah.
There you go, chap.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see any downsides in this, honestly. Chloe says, the thing I was most disturbed by, Stephen, being his mum, was his mum still existed in him, and his dad does have alone time with her.
No, so what it actually was, and I think it was the last episode, was when White Diamond removes the gem, Stephen's gem, which was his mother's gem, from his stomach, right?
Mm.
And then when that happens, there's this aura that comes out of it, and everyone thinks it's going to be Rose, but it turns out it's just basically it's sort of to solidify the argument that I made earlier. It's basically the pink aura is basically a copy of Steven, so that's why I said it was like an allegory for, I guess, transitioning, so to say, because everyone thought that stone, because it was Rose's stone, it was going to be Rose, and Steve was finally going to meet his mother, but it wasn't. It was him. His mother had turned into him. So
this is some really fucking dumb shit. I don't mind saying it.
Well, she's not. Rebecca isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. So
she's a hoe, you might even say. But tish.
God damn, you snuck up on me with that one.
Good God.
That one was good. I've been thinking about
that. That was pretty good. You just zinger. You just got me.
Popatsot says, I threw this chat before I came into the room, Black Dynamite reference. This man has worked on so many things I loved over the years, so it's only fair to give back. When T-Mobile stops giving my phone ads, I'll be back. Took me 15 minutes to write. Well, there you go.
Good luck, sir. Good luck and Godspeed. Long pause.
Yeah, I've got two different tabs with the
I was like, oh no.
thing.
I feel like there are so many pregnant pauses that we could have a whole new generation of people.
Oh my God. Pregnant pauses. We learn a little bit more about Fresh. A little bit.
No, that's like a term.
I mean, it's a pretty vanilla fetish. I'll say that much.
No, it's...
he doesn't know.
He's like, wait, no.
Excuse him. He's very retarded.
This is an experience. I'll say right now.
We're gonna read into this, and we're gonna overthink everything. Little bit of autism, if you will.
Well, there's the Darkest Secrets one, asking about it for Affinity accounts, so I must be close. There we go, yes. Prince Luna, or Boog, says, how much would you charge to draw art of Arch and Kibbs as hyper-obese ponies?
Oh, God.
What's the question?
One more time. How much would you charge to draw art of Arch and Kibbs as hyper-obese ponies?
Hyper-obese ponies?
Obese, I think.
Oh, obese.
Yeah.
Some
Right?
things don't have a price; they're just priceless.
Which is priceless. I like the way they phrase it. Out of your reach,
That's
buddy.
my answer.
See, you need to be careful around Boog and certain other members of our audience, because if you name a price, as Kyle has
will.
I
realized,
mean,
They will
you
climb
can't
the
name a
reach.
price on something that's priceless, can you?
Listen, I'm just
Correct.
saying, look at his goal here, okay? We can make that number fill up. We can... You're gonna have to do things you wish you never wanted to do, though.
I've already made Rare Folks draw one pony. Might make another one too, just of Gibbs.
You need help.
On Patriot says, unrelated to anything, but Arch, would you ever consider doing more World of Darkness lore videos? I would love it if you did a lore video on Promethean the Created. I'm not saying no, but I'm also not saying yes. Like, I have no particular plans for it, so if I run out of other stuff and I go like, vampires are pretty cool, then maybe.
Vampires are pretty cool. I mean, fair enough.
Mark Ashamed. Woke is like the start of the Catholic Church. Their words come from God, thus law, excommunications of heretics, and cannot naturally have children. Yes, that does look to be the trend.
The difference is that Catholicism and all these other religions went through very many stages of reformation before they became the establishments that we know them as today.
Mm-hmm. They mellowed out, if you will.
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't. I wouldn't call this a religion. This is purely, neo-Marxism at its core, and neo-Marxism it wears the sheep's clothing of religion without actually calling itself religion, but underneath it's not religious in any way. Like, there's no deeper truths that are driving it. At least with Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, and all the others, there's like a deeper philosophy of sort of like an attempt to try to understand the world and how things connect to each other on a deeper level.
Glow in the Dark says, Fresher, California exterminatus, yay or nay?
I'm not sure what he's asking me.
Imagine California exploding, and that's basically what he's asking.
Oh, dropping a nuke on California?
Yeah, basically.
Many, actually.
Yes.
There you go.
But what about all your supporters from California?
Are there? Do I have? I mean, I feel like there's like maybe one or two.
He's like,
Fucking
they're
optimistic,
expendable. Replaceable.
I mean, look, so, hey, look, if you want to make an omelet, sometimes you got to break a few eggs. That's all I'm saying.
I like
the
your
greater good.
thinking.
I agree.
No, I
Listen,
mean,
one or two people is a very cheap price for exploding California.
look, like sometimes the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, guys. Like I've lived in California. It's not a great place to live. Like,
you
the
could have
weather's
moved.
good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the argument there. You could have moved.
I did move, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back to California
Mm.
if you gave me $1 million. Like, that place is horrible.
Okay, you
It's
go
filled
back
full of-
for a week at least.
No, not even then. I would
million?
never set back. Not even for $1 million. I would never
See,
do it.
I'd go to California.
Some
for
people,
$1 million.
Kyle, have principles. You, meanwhile,
Well,
$1 million
because I've
could
been
be a
there.
lot of
I
fun
lived there
then.
for 10 years, guys, and it's filled to the brim with the worst kind of people in the world.
See,
and they
that's
all
true.
flock there.
But you could have just locked yourself in the hotel room for, a week and then went home.
yeah, but then they break down your hotel door in California all over you.
But
Yeah,
that doesn't happen there.
It does.
you'd
I'm
be
sure it does.
surprised. You'd be
Listen, it also
surprised.
depends on where you stay in California. You stay out on the rural side, it's actually not that bad. There's some decent folk out there. You go to the cities, those are shitholes.
Well, let me further express my opinion on the matter. Then,
I've been down
if
to
Kyle
the
was
state.
tied to a stone altar in California, I would hit the button.
No, you wouldn't.
There we go.
You'd send a rescue team first.
To give you a letter, maybe they drop a note from the helicopter, like, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, we could only pay for the helicopter to fly over you, not pick you up.
Yeah, fuel's goddamn expensive. Blame your president.
If it weren't for inflation, we could afford a ladder. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Rare Fox says, Ice Clips Studio good. Goddamn, Kyle, you threw me off. You read that one? Kyle.
That's because I'm helping you. I'm saving you from yourself. Yes.
Helping. Reaches out a leg, trips me. Help.
Yeah.
Young Hook says, coffee brand coffee. Coffee brand coffee.
So that was the ad.
That was the ad. Hey, $5 a little bit under my normal rates, but I'll take it.
Sure.
Prince of Luna says, what is the best isekai of the season, and why is it Slave Harem in Another World Labyrinth?
Kind of a bit presumptuous. I don't think I'm really just burnt out on isekais. I think the best.
Everyone else.
Yeah, me and everyone else. But there is one really good fantasy anime that I really, really want to watch. I've only ever seen clips of it. It's called Ranking of Kings.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Like, it's sort of. I mean, it's not the inspiration for Random Saga because obviously I made it long before Ranking of Kings ever came out. But looking at it, it's kind of like the target of where I want to take Random Saga. Like, just sort of like that perfect blend of great characterization, really really well thought out, intriguing plot and story, and just real stakes at hand and good wholesome messages. I would recommend it to anyone.
Sounds good.
Even though I haven't seen it yet.
I gotta say, I was actually quite disappointed with Slave Harem because I actually quite like the manga because it has some of the densest fucking world building I have ever seen, and I kind of like that because so long as you set the rules, I'm happy with the rules being done. Like, I'm happy with the lightsaber being a thing, despite light not operating like that, so long as you stay consistent with it. And Slave Harem does. My problem was, like, they didn't pace that. Like, it feels like they're betting on a second season, and I don't think they're getting a second season. We'll see. We'll see. Sonic Nitro says, hey guys, have you heard of Soviet Treasure Iceland? Island, I guess? Saw memes of it recently, so check it out, and it's hilarious.
I like Iceland. Soviet Island. So what was it? Soviet what?
Soviet Treasure Island, I guess.
Soviet Treasure Iceland. Yeah, I'm down.
I mean, I'm kind of fine with the Soviets invading Iceland.
And they're looking for treasure, just Soviet pirates.
I mean, there's plenty of Russians wanting to leave Russia right now, so I'm sure Iceland will be happily receiving them.
I'm sure the Russian mail order brides stock is overflowing right now.
That's right. That's a good point. This will be a cheap way to get some extra help around the house.
Yeah, you could, guys. If you're a weeb, you could buy your own harem.
Welcome, wife. This is Mop. This is Bucket. I trust you understand.
I trust you. This is my mop wife. This is my cooking wife. This is...
We've got to live here in the closet.
Listen, it's spacious.
I stacked the shelves so they all have their own bed.
Very considerate.
Icthulu says, Fresher, what happened to Disney's Paper app?
Paper app?
Yes, I think so. Paper. With one P, though. Pepper. Pepper app?
Pepper app?
Pepper app? Does this ring bells?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
In that case, we are at an impasse, because I have no fucking clue either.
Yeah.
Bogue says, Young Justice should have stayed Axe. Right. You did say that already.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that's your I feel like that's your North Star that you're gonna be guided by forever.
Yes. Artemis Fowl says, what's wrong with blood money? I make a lot of money from blood money. Like I said.
I mean, you can take the blood money. The problem is the blood doesn't wash off.
No, but he can buy an awful lot of Kyle bronies with it. And for some reason, for him, I feel like that it weighs up. Like, I'm bleeding, but pony.
God help us all.
Yes. The problem is, I'm pretty sure this is God's design, because after 2,000 years of us, I'm pretty sure he's getting bored. And so this is what he made to be like, this will be funny.
What if they just do funny, weird stuff randomly?
Like, look, it shows it off to the other gods in heaven or whatever. Like, I created this guy. He's Gibbs. He's doomed to have lots of pony art drawn of him.
Well, isn't that quite
Like,
funny?
why is that funny? I don't know, but I was going to try it out.
Listen, when you've been around for a long time, you get bored easily. You need new sources of entertainment.
He's sitting on the celestial toilet, and one day this idea just dumps into his head.
Hey, I got a whole moment dedicated to my creation.
He's also omnipotent, so that's... See, here's the thing. When Fresher brought up that point about Hitler being the most successful artist, that was what caused Hitler, because God was like,
Dramatic irony.
You see, it was a time travel plot all along.
Oh. Okay.
Black 1917 says, you got way more than $2,000, Kyle. We overpaid the shit out of you in under 5 minutes. That is also true. Kyle's underselling it because Kyle's greedy.
I'm not greedy.
Damn, well then this campaign should be getting fulfilled tonight.
Does it have bronies in it?
When are you going to become a brony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me?
Yes,
this
I'm a brony.
support comes
Hold
with...
on.
I'm a businessman, not a brony.
I mean, that's part. What's the difference, really? Now, where's our skelly pony?
I mean, I don't know how you would get the business suit to fit on there.
They're very creative. Trust me, they'll find a way.
Hmm.
Oh god, you guys are very active today, aren't you? We still got... I'm sick, okay? You people need to be silent. Let's see. Where were we? Mind saying, Wonder Lolly is good, but we need more negative Wonder Woman /S. Wonder Lolly.
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm assuming that he means Wonder Girl, because I think there is a Wonder Girl in there somewhere.
Well, I just googled Wonder Lolly, and that is a thing.
Fair enough. The more you know.
And now you're going to jail.
Perhaps. She doesn't look legal. There's one of her looking over her back saying, okay, I lied, I loved every minute of it.
Okay,
Yes.
there we go.
Okie dokie.
You find many interesting things on the internet as you browse it. I've learned many a lesson from putting random things Google chat says into Google, but I have yet to learn the most important lesson of all.
Hey,
No.
Troy Neenan just backed Gold Perk. Thank you, Troy. I appreciate you backing this campaign.
Very generous.
Very nice, Troy. You have done your part to bring animation away from the brink of disaster.
Yes. You are truly... You're the real hero here, Troy. Let's be honest.
Book says, Young Justice Just X. God damn it, I'm going to read that one at least 5 more times. If no more. Wonder Lolly, so that'll be my new guard mark. If I could just, like, drag a picture of that over there.
Crap.
Glow in the Dark says, dislike the argument about Batman causing the villains. Evil will always exist. Now, what form it takes is another matter. Penguin would still be around without Batman, so would Bane, so would Freeze. That's true. And I really like Freeze. Freeze has a very good story, which has sadly been overused these days because now every villain has to be a good guy too. Like, secretly, he's actually not a terrible person. It's okay for a villain to just be an absolute tremendous asshole. It's a villain.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think the thing that people like so much about the Batman villains is that, I mean, yeah, you have like the sadistic psychopaths like Joker and the broken people like Two-Face, and then just the criminally greedy people like Penguin. But then you got sort of like the tragic cases like Baby Doll, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah,
and
you've actually got a genuine variety in there of actual genuine characters. It's very cool.
I mean, yeah, once again, different characters, different circumstances, different walks of life. Mr. Freeze kind of does what he does out of necessity because he got screwed over, his wife got hurt as a result, and he's just trying desperately to hold on to the last vestiges of the things that matter to him the most. And he has to take... I guess he's the best example of a desperate criminal, like doing crime to try and help the ones that he loves.
And he's also not human. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't have emotions after his accident. Like, he's dead inside. His wife is the only thing of humanity he has left, which he's desperately clinging to. And I like, too, he never actually makes the argument that what he's doing is moral. Like, if people ask, he'll explain, like, oh, yeah, no, I'm doing this for my wife, blah, 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 disease, blah, blah. But he never makes an excuse. He's never like, oh, this is the right thing to do. And it's like, no, I'm doing this because of these reasons.
Well, I think, it's relative in a sense. Like, I think in a sense, in his mind, because obviously he has lost all of his humanity, and that's sort of part of his tragedy, in that to him, it's the right thing that he has to do. He has to do right by his wife first. He puts his wife ahead of everything else because, as you said, it's like the last vestige of his humanity that he's just trying to hold on to, and that's what his wife represents, when in fact she's probably already dead. So
he is making a moral choice, but what I mean is he isn't presenting this as a moral choice. Like, he isn't preaching. He's not trying to justify.
He isn't preaching, but yeah, I guess the nuance I'm saying is, in a sense, in his mind he's justifying it, but on the outside he knows that it's not the.
But he doesn't make the excuse.
Yeah, he doesn't make excuse.
In the modern day, Dr. Frost would be a character constantly fucking crying and whinging about how hard he has it. Oh God, my life is very tough. I have a wife who's frozen. And like, yeah, true, but shut up.
True, but you have a freeze gun, dude. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Batman and my parents are dead. I'm like, oh, okay, dude, we know.
Yeah.
Fan of Princess Luna says, Steven Universe is Transformers for Tumblr. See, don't you dare. Transformers is good, okay? Transformers is really good.
That's quite the comparison.
That's actually denigrating Transformers. I recently discovered how cool that IP is after playing the War for Cybertron game, which I was trying to convince Arch to try, because they are real gems of games. If you can acquire them, chat, find any by any means. Do what it takes.
I played War for Cybertron. It was all right.
All right, well, you can crawl in the dumpster for that.
But having said that, I am an old school Transformers fan from back in the day, like Generation 1.
Same.
But I think probably the better way to explain Steven Universe is that it's Tumblr's version of Transformers.
Tumblr looked at Transformers and went like, hold on, we have Transformers too.
Yes, our human people are blank slates. They get assigned their gender, and so that's like a transformer. They can transform.
I do hate that term. Glow in the Dark says, Kibbs, the persecuted, he who only wanted to make a game.
Aw.
Kibbs, the whore. You know, so let's be honest here.
Hey, much like Fresher here, I too am chasing a childhood dream. Chasing enunciation, not strong suit. But you know what I mean. We got to do what it takes to make those happen.
No matter how many bronies or penises must be taken care of.
Oh wow, Artemis! Did Artemis Fowl just back something? He says, "Look, take my blood money, $300 for the cause."
Yes, like I said, you need to be careful of what you promise around here because we have a couple of people like Slutimus.
Artemis is a good guy. He might be a bit special though.
Yes,
so wait,
Artemis is a good guy.
Did he back it, or is he just offering $300?
Oh, I guess we'll see soon enough.
All right.
I mean, Artemis is the
guy. Or maybe he's
who...
just sending $300 to mercenaries. You never know with Artemis.
Just to give you context, Artemis is the guy who's like, "I'm going to give you $1,000," and I'm like, "Ha, no, you're not." And then like 5 minutes later, he does. He is a bit of a wild card. You never know with that little son of a bitch, but he's a good lad, even if he is a bit retarded.
So long as you share a passion for ponies.
Also, never be nice to him.
I mean, if he's backing my campaign, I got to be nice to him.
No.
Yeah.
Don't give him an inch. You don't understand.
No, I disagree with this. I'm nice to Artemis frequently.
My God. You fools.
And again, he doesn't give me as much money as he does to you, so maybe you're onto something.
See, I'm telling you.
Artemis will see a drastic shift in Arch's behavior very soon.
I'm telling you because I'm saving you, or not saving, I'm earning you money. Look at that.
Boog says, Kibbs refused to do hot tub streams. Streamer-made games, indie horror games.
No shit.
Or embrace being a VTuber. Then wonders why he hasn't grown more. Ow, I need to stop snapping. It hurts my sickly body. But yes, that is exactly it.
I am growing at the pace of a snail, but I'm growing nonetheless. I just might be a snail.
Okay.
The hot tub stream, Kyle, is the future.
No.
Troy, if GW bought an IP, what would be a good faction for 40k, including supernatural factions? Oh, Jesus. Fucking buy Castlevania. And then do what the Dark Eldar were supposed to be, this fucking Chunibu vampire people, guys. Because that's kind of what they were supposed to be, but then they kind of got lost in the Dark Eldar just being almost too edgy. Like, their edge has almost no point anymore. Like, they're 13-year-old kid edgy. Like, you need to introduce a bit more sinister in there.
I never thought a day would come when someone would say there's almost so much edge that it's too edgy, and now it's so edgy that it's lost the point.
Yes,
You know?
it's very possible to simply take a blade and then file it until there is no blade.
I guess so.
File the blade away.
It's so amazing the way it just came back around like that.
Like, the issue is it's cartoonish, and at that point it just becomes Sunday morning cartoon. Like, I drink the tears of little children in my wine jar. Like, I mean, if you'd gone about this a roundabout way and said, like, yes, he has a entire store of little children in his basement, then you'd have to be like, oh god, okay, what does he do? And you'd let the mind do a little bit of the work. But if you just say it like, oh yeah, I make them cry. Now all I imagine is a retarded like machine from Monster Inc. that scares the children and makes them cry, and just a container gathers up the tears.
Okay.
Like, otherwise entirely harmless, just Monster Inc.
Yeah.
Troy Needon also says, keep in mind that doctors are fine exchanging your blood with drugs and also suffer from bills. That's a good point as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the thing too, like, we like to put doctors up on pedestals. Like, this is a person who studied for many years to become an expert in his field, to save people. Yeah, those doctors absolutely do exist. And then there's the doctors who just do clinical trials, who's like, I wonder what this will do to a human.
True.
You know, the doctor... I would like to remind you that Dr. Mengele was also a doctor. How long can a Jew survive in the ice-cold water? Like, oh, okay.
I wonder how did you can survive how many gunshots?
And what about the Hippocratic Oath? That's for people. Oh, Jesus.
Oh wow. We went there. There we go.
And ironically, that was probably his reasoning.
Yeah.
Marcus James says, Arch likes Illinois' new safe T law, aka the Purge. Okay. Well, if there's a day in the calendar where it's legal to kill people, then, I mean, I'll avoid Illinois for a while, I guess.
Aren't you in Norway right now?
Yes, which will make it very easy to avoid Illinois.
Yeah.
Absolutely facile, in fact. Which, considering what the chat is telling me, might be a good thing. Rex Familia Vito says, have some money to tell the world how bad Sweden is. Listen, Sweden shouldn't be a nation, okay? It's a matter of fact. Like, they do stupid things. Like, look at them. Okay, we'll spin the narrative to benefit myself. Recently, they elected the Swedish Democrats, who were like literal fascists, or so the news keeps telling me.
Yeah.
So clearly, they just need to be a part of Norway.
Yeah, clearly. But wait, are
Don't
they like being called fascists the same way Donald Trump was being called a fascist?
Much the same way. Though these guys did actually have a history in some fairly spicy shit.
Oh, okay.
That was like 20 years ago, though, and the party has changed a lot, but...
yeah. A lot can change in 20 years.
Princess Luna says, you're a gamer, question mark. Say a gamer word. No.
Among
good,
Us.
Bad.
There are many gamer words that aren't the N-word, Arj. You little fucking numbskull.
That is only one PewDiePie word.
It was
there you go.
It was directed at me because I said I was a gamer. So the gamer word is Among Us.
Oh, you.
That's pretty cringe.
You claim to be like old, but yet you say things that are very zoomy.
Hey, fellow kids. I'm just hip and cool like the rest of you, okay? Don't have a cow, man.
Have a cow? Who says that? Get out of here, boy!
all the hip young kids who say that. That's what I'm saying.
Have a cow? That's what they're saying now? God damn.
Yep.
Kyle, I better not catch you fucking saying this later, because he's like a parrot when it comes to shit like this.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
Let's see. Artemis Fowl enters into a discussion. Luke, what's wrong with blood money? I make a lot of money from blood money. Also, congrats on coming out of the closet.
We already read that one, I think.
Yeah.
You and Gibbs have something in common now. No, that was part 2.
Was it?
What? We've heard this
because he's continued by
we read this one.
on you and getting out of the closet.
No, we read this.
Because the joke is that people have skeletons in their closet, and I'm a skeleton, so I've come out of the closet to spread.
All right, clip it again, chat. He did it again.
What?
He said he came out of the closet.
Yeah, like what skeletons do. It's not the other one.
No, it's too late.
Where?
If we clip it and take it out of context, we win.
Oh my god.
I have one clip already.
I just can't give a straight answer with you guys anymore.
You guys specify him.
Yeah, we're fighting now. Come here.
My good name and reputation will not be besmirched by the likes of Kyle.
What? He enables me, I'll have you know.
Artemis Fowl says, Fire Warriors, Kibbs, you must complete it. That is true, Kyle. You are searching... English is a difficult language when you're dying. You are skirting your duty.
I don't know if that's my duty.
It is. You're paid for it. That's your job now.
He said duty.
Oh, you think you can become me now all of a sudden? I see how it is.
I know, I'm just...
That's it, we're fighting.
Just trying to fit in. Just trying to fit in.
Gotta fight now.
Princess Luno said, remember, Pink Diamond transitioned twice. I mean, if that's possible, why not?
Yeah.
See, I imagine many circumstances in which it would be eminently preferable for me to be a woman.
What?
I cannot.
Oh, God. No. He actually had a rant about this, like 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Was it the same roundabout way where he started out with one thing and then ended up
with him wanting to be a woman?
I can sweep Fresh's argument right out at the kneecaps. Like, I cannot see the benefit of being a woman. You were cancelled by women because they said things.
Look,
and because all of the men are like,
no. It's all about apples and oranges, Ark. All right? Women have a lot of social power, but men have a lot of physical power.
Yes, but I'm also intelligent, so I'm capable of turning that social power into physical power by going, he bullied me.
You can, but because men and women
there was genuinely I remember a social experiment that did this, where they had a woman and they smeared her makeup a little bit, and they had her run up to like a bunch of dudes and just point at an actor like, he attacked me. Every single fucking time. The entire bunch went over to the guy, and every time the people had to step in and go, no, we're just testing something, like he didn't actually.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's what I mean. Women have a lot of social power. And I mean, like, if you want to be like, look, I'm not saying I hate women or anything like that, but maybe it's just because I obviously have bias being a guy. But if you want to live your life where you're always constantly depending on other people to do things for you, okay, but that's not how I want to live my life. Being independent and being self-reliant is very empowering. And a lot of women who sort of embrace that kind of mindset end up being a lot happier as well in some respects. I mean, you know, not in like a toxic way where they're just using their husbands and just lazing about, but you know what I mean? It's like taking care of the kids, you know, taking pride in your work, taking responsibility in work. Like, there's a lot of empowerment in that for women as well. But most women today don't want to take on that kind of responsibility. They just want men to pay for everything and use them until they're, you know, bored with them, and then they just toss them away like a used rag and move on to the next one. And then once women start hitting the wall, then all of a sudden reality start setting in. Because the other thing is, there's nothing more valuable in the world than a young woman, and there's nothing less valuable in the world than a young man. So there's give and take between the sexes.
Mm-hmm.
There is, but I do feel like the take side has severely outweighed the give for a while now.
Oh my god, Artemis. God damn it, dude. Fuck you.
Oh, what did Slatimus do?
He just did a $2 super chat quoting me saying, "I'm not saying I hate women, but Luke 2022." Fuck you, man.
Good.
Fuck you.
Don't forget to clip it. I'm building up quite the catalog. Thanks, chat. You've been DMing.
No, because you gotta give that.
You unironically do.
You have to say that, right? Because otherwise, then people misinterpret you as saying, "Well, he just hates women." No, I don't hate women. I'm just saying there are differences. There are big differences between men and women. Like, we're part of the same race, the human race, but we're two parts of a greater whole, and both parts bring different things to the table.
Glow in the Dark says, Kib's a Twitch channel. Kibs don't stream that kind of stuff. We don't need that kind of content. Your Discord has plenty. True.
I don't make the Discord content. My audiences makes that content.
Guilt by association, Kyle. I approve.
Speaks volumes of you.
Only benefits me. But like 1917 says, in California, $1 million only buys a hobo shack. See, I can believe that because we've had a little bit of the similar situation in Oslo where, like, this tiny fucking apartment, tiny thing, went for the rough equivalent of like $250,000.
Jeez.
And, like, it wasn't even like an apartment. It was like a shed in a courtyard. Like, wow, it's getting a bit thick in there.
Your chat is crazy.
I know.
They're just saying all kinds of weird shit.
Personally, I love everyone and lust one of them. Because it's people like these that are our side, and we must embrace them.
Because like I said, we're part of a greater whole, as in you know what I mean? Like, two parts make a bigger thing, but they're saying a greater whole as in HOLE, and I'm just like, God damn it, you motherfuckers! This is why we can't have nice things.
That's true. Like, no, this rolls perfectly back to your previous argument. Like, men will use women until a greater whole comes along.
He loves them so much.
Actually, it's the reverse now, though. It's like, I don't know.
It's true, but he does love them so much that he doesn't interact with them. It's brilliant. Keep them at arm's length, right, Barch? You sick bastard.
Princess Luna says, Valley Girl Kibs, defending California. Disgusting. True. He hasn't Valley Girl too bad today. He's had a topic in mind. That has helped a lot.
Oh.
Credit where credit is due.
Okay.
Bobby MSRS says, just curious if you'll continue the Skaven RP or at power. Kyle killed that instead.
I didn't kill anything. Me losing my job killed that.
And Princess Luna says, really, Ojo-sama ranking? Effing normie. That's cruel.
Hey, if liking Ranking of Kings is normie, then call me a bloody normie, because it's a beautiful series. I love it.
Well, I believe you already did. The power of the internet. Oh god, there's more. Let's see. Where were I now then? Troy Neenan says, got gold perk. Oh, yep.
Yes.
That's short told Neenan. We finally caught up to that.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Troy, for helping out. Icthulu, Fresher. Paper was the animation automation app Disney made Paperman 2012 with. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, so this was special proprietary software that they made where you could kind of like draw over 3D animated, I guess, puppets or whatever to sort of like, I guess, push poses and silhouettes. I don't know what happened to it. personally. I don't think they ever used it again. I mean, it looked good. I don't think they could figure out, because it was in black and white. I don't think they could figure out how to make the colors match yet. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, they got all like gooey and flowy.
No, it's like, because obviously, you know, if you've got like the character, it's easier to do it in like 3D because all you're doing is just in black and white, because all you're doing is just matching like blacks and whites and grays between them, and that's relatively easy. Whereas with color, it's like a whole different can of worms, like stuff like chroma, color heat, all this other stuff. That's my guess as to why they didn't move forward with that tech, or maybe they've implemented it and we just haven't seen seen a film where it's been used throughout the whole film yet. I'm not sure.
Artemis Fowl says, Luke, you're being endorsed by Brony, thank you very much. How do you feel about your campaign being tainted by this news? You are now a Brony by association, Art soon.
I disavow.
Correct answer. Beskar Armor says, Arch and Kibbs, WoW needs you. I know. We're going to have to take a little break after this, so this was longer than I thought.
Yeah, 3 hours. Whoa. New record.
A lot of questions. Like, chat is very active today.
Yeah.
Go in the Dark. Freeze Arnold was a treasure every line a pun.
Okay. Cool.
Just accepted that. Okay.
Yep. I'll
Rangi?
roll with it.
Hey Arch, would there be any chance for cyberpunk lore? Edgerunners has made me more interested in the setting and trying to find decent lore. There probably isn't a whole lot of people who do cyberpunk lore, is there? Like, that is a fucking old setting.
Yeah. I mean,
now that Edgerunners out, they might.
Yeah, the anime, I think it was because the anime was done so well, it did its job. Now everyone's really interested in the game again. So
Yes.
Good work, Trigger. You did it again.
Trigger created yet another cultural phenomenon by doing what they always do. It's almost impressive.
Who knew a bunch of Japanese incels had so much sway over the culture of America?
But Edgerunner is genuinely good, so maybe like cyberpunk lore. Jesus Christ, like that's a lot of cringe too, because that is an old setting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll consider it. Is it profitable? It might be profitable. If it's profitable, I'd do it. Arnold Fowl says, Luke, take my blood money, $300 for the cause.
Okay. Thank you.
I
don't know. I can't verify it right now. I'll just say thank you in the off chance that it is there.
Troy Neenan says, refresh the campaign page. Kyle?
I did that when that pop-up did come, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
What are we up to?
$3,745.
And then Artemis launches into a lengthy expose. Luke, it is your campaign. You can see the donations. Arch, this is literally your channel super chats. You are like a pizza cutter, all edge and no point. That's cruel.
Fucking God.
That's very cruel.
That's a classic one. I love that one.
It's also good. I hadn't heard it before, but it's also cruel.
That's an old one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
And Artemis will definitely see a shift in Arch's attitude now. Lord of Opossums. Hi, Arch. Watching while sick. Ditto. Must you help me feel better? Hashtag breed kibs. Maybe in our sickness we can all come together and breed kibs together.
Okay.
They do that.
Wait, you mean breed to make kids? Right? That's what it means?
No. Breed kibs.
Okay.
Don't worry. This is a really dumb thing he started a while ago. It's like, it's a stupid in-house joke. It's dumb.
Okay. This is my co-host, Kibs.
Yeah. Breed Kibs.
Okay, I get you.
He thinks he's funny.
I do. Most of the internet thinks so too.
Fucking asshole.
Mark DeShame says, bring back the dual monarchy of Norway and Sweden. So long as Sweden is on the bottom, sure.
Oh.
But would it be a power bottom?
No, because it's completely paralyzed by immigrant crime. Unironically. Like, Stockholm has a grenade attack once a month. A grenade attack. Not a sniping, not a stabbing, not a shooting. Grenades!
Well, I mean, I guess
Jesus, fuck.
it
They're better
gives
equipped than the Russian army.
I guess it gives better credence to the term Stockholm syndrome.
That's dark.
I mean, it does.
I'm not disagreeing.
Where's the lie, chat? Where's the lie?
They'll start looking for it.
I'm sure they'll try.
Mark Shame says Salem witch trial is a great example of feminist power. True. The Salem witch trials are unironically an excellent example of feminine societal power. And the power of society, like that's the thing. The moment you have a society more advanced than fucking monkeys gathering berries and worms in the woods, societal power almost always trumps physical power. Unless you're in a dark alley, in which case.
Humans are communal. That's part of our trait.
Yep. We're also trusting retards.
And also lying retards, too. We go both ways.
Occasionally, yes. Yep, that was Artemis's. I'm not saying I hate women, but Luke 2022.
Yeah,
We're catching up. Sadness in his voice.
Glow in the Dark says, paraphrasing Luke, women should be proud of their work like cooking.
Oh my! I never fucking said that shit. Look,
that
there's
might actually cut deeper.
Just to clarify, it's like obviously, just to build upon that. Typically, because men have more systemized thinking and women have more empathizing, it would make sense that women have traits that are more geared towards raising the next generation, whereas men have traits more geared to building the infrastructure from which that next generation can then inhabit and live inside.
I agree, but I also have to bring up the point here about cooking and emotional labor. Because I unironically had a girlfriend once who, to be fair, she was on her period at the time, but she was told to cut up baby carrots, and she started crying, and I was like, what? It's like, it's baby, so...
Yeah.
That was very funny. I laughed a lot, and
I mean, look, occasionally,
I
mean, there's pros and cons to both sides, so...
It was a brilliant example of human biochemistry, let's say.
Yeah.
A powerful force.
Yeah. It's annoying as fuck, though.
El Cis Surana, since we are part of a greater whole, does that mean we are all Germans? The country is one large posteria.
Oh my god. This is why we can't have nice things, guys.
Ein Reich, ein Volk, ein Whole.
Yeah.
That'll get crowded awfully quickly.
I bet.
Artemis Fowl says, look, women should stay in their lane. Artemis is mean today.
No, I mean, look, I believe everyone should have free agency to pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue.
Very unfeminist of you.
How is that unfeminist?
Because the feminists are of the opinion that there should be 50% women in all well-paying positions.
Well, no, I mean, I know, because that's what's going on in animation right now through Women in Animation, the organization. But
that's not free agency. That's conscription.
No. Yeah, there's a difference. So when they say, 50-50 in all high-paid positions, that's a quality of outcome, not a quality of opportunity. What I'm talking about is a quality of opportunity. Like, people should be allowed to have agency. Doesn't matter who they are, how they were born, or their walk of life. They should be able to choose how they want to live their lives and what direction they want to take their lives. Like, that's a fundamental... I'm not religious, but it is a fundamental God-given right, like our ability to have free will.
Kazivek says, hey Arch, I enjoy your content. Glad to see opinions about the war in Ukraine that is not just pure basis, like what is so common these days. I do enjoy making those because it's actually a very interesting mental experiment to try and extrapolate what's going on, because neither side is saying dick all, and what they are saying is probably bullshit.
Well, those are some great outcomes.
Troinin, have you seen Hell's Reach? No More Hope? Question mark. Astartes? Question mark.
Who, me?
Yes.
I have seen Astartes. I think
But
I
not
said
Hell's
that at
Reach.
not Hell's Reach yet. No.
Okay. Yes, I think that was what he was asking.
Oh.
Elsie Surana. Questions for both Arch and Kibbs. You've just been made CEO of GW. What's the first thing you do?
Whoa!
See, I'm tempted to say bring a loaded shotgun to work.
Whoa!
There's a lot of people at GW that, like, they can't leave quickly enough via the usual firing procedure.
Yeah.
See,
So you chase them out with a shotgun.
what would you
But
do
I
with
think
it, though, Bunch?
I think it would be the process of Roman decimation. Like I would ask for everyone. I would do that horrible thing where you ask for performance reports for everybody, just every minutia of everything they've done the last fucking 6 months. Then I would actually have to sit down and read through all of that shit and want to kill myself at multiple points through doing so, and eventually just line them all up in front and then do that Donald Trump thing like you're fired.
Hmm.
I'll even
That's
have
a-
a desk dragged out.
Way to go,
Wow.
Bunch. See,
Yes.
that's a bit more complicated than what I'd do. I'd just simply sell it to somebody who cared, because I don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
but that's not an answer, Kyle. That's like, I don't care. I didn't answer your question. Kyle, bad person.
I don't want GW.
But once that is done, it's back to basic. Like they need start making fucking fluff books again. Get them invested in the setting. Have them writing story. Have them writing fluff and histories. Have them not write sweeping storylines, but more localized stuff. Like Imperial Armor needs to fucking start up again. And then, slowly but surely, once they're getting more confident with the universe, you can pick out the people who give a shit and see if they can write rules. And I mean, internal playtesting. Like, to be fair, there's probably a reason why the fucking Not Dwarves were released in the state they were, and that reason is exactly as sinister as you think, namely, that they knew it would earn a lot more money if they were fucking broken. But that is that's something you can do if you have an installed player base who don't have another option, but you are going to be building up a lot of ill will with the community. Now, one of the problems with that I need to mention too is far too often they are then given all of that ill will back as goodwill when they fix the fuck up they created. And that is a us consumer problem.
Hmm. Interesting.
There we go. That was my answer.
Good answer.
Black 917 says Trigger knows what their audience wants. Yes, like you can criticize Nintendo for the same thing, but Trigger has a fairly solid understanding of what is expected of them at this point, I would say.
Yes and no.
Elaborate.
Elaborate. Yes.
Well, I mean, there was what was the name of that one they did? It wasn't Brand New Animal. It was one about the firefighters, and basically the antagonist and protagonist were gay as fuck for each other.
Is that the older one with the like stupid skeleton?
No, it was recent. It had the burning
Firefighters.
dervish. Yeah.
Was it the literal firefighters, the dude who punch fire?
No, it was like, I'm not sure. Anyway, I kind of feel like wokeism is kind of like creeping in there just because, well, the guy I mentioned before, not Fire Force, wait, maybe it is Fire Force, but the guy I was talking about, the American liaison who basically got them that Netflix deal. He's kind of in the Hollywood system, and he kind of goes along with what everybody else goes along with, and I think you already know what I'm alluding to in that regard. So I think, and because he can speak Japanese, I think he kind of like, the Trigger guys go to him and say, what's because the Trigger guys, they're Westaboos, right? They love Western, cartoons and culture and stuff like that. And so, they go to him and say, what's the popular thing in the West right now? And, he'll say, oh, Promare, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, it was this series called Promare. And, I think he just tells them what the popular narrative is, and they go, oh, okay. I understand. And then they go ahead and they start making stuff like that. Having said that, I mean, Cyberpunk was pretty good from what I saw. Like they kept it pretty faithful to the world.
There was no woke in there, I'll say.
Yeah.
I
mean, there
really
was a
like
little
the
bit,
points
but it wasn't overt.
There was
where they
wokeism in it.
basically where Netflix said you can't have a lolly, and they're like, no, we're gonna have lolly.
Well, no, it was like
That was CD Projekt Red that said that.
Yeah. But there was a bit, from what I remember, like when the main protagonist meets the main love interest, the hacker chick with the white hair, whose name escapes me right now. I already know who Rebecca is. She's the lolly that everybody loves.
Lucy is the hacker.
Yeah, Lucy. And I think when he first meets her, like, she kind of gets one up on over him. You know what I mean? It's like, and yet he has this implant that allows him to essentially, like, I guess, momentarily travel faster through time, like the Flash, and it looks like he's moving extra fast. It's like you couldn't just come out of that headlock and just beat her, like, get one up on over her. It's like,
listen, you have to have your girl boss moments.
That, but he does have to activate that, and he'd used it like precisely twice before. So, plus
True.
she is a driven veteran in this. So I did react to that a little bit myself. Like, hold on, like you've got super speed.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I said, it's not overt, but it's like still people still feel the need to kind of put that stuff in there. And while I'm not against it if it makes sense. It's like sometimes I have to second guess and wonder, are they purposely just putting that in there to have that, as Kib says, to have that girl boss
there
moment?
to set her up to be a strong character? Because that's the thing. We need to be careful to confuse woke characters from just actually strong characters. Because
I
you
get
can
that.
still have strong female characters that aren't strong female characters.
Sure, I understand that, but that's part of the problem, because there's been so much now. It's like everyone's almost suffering from beaten wife syndrome now.
It can actually be genuinely difficult to tell.
The lines are blurred now, and that's a sad reality we face.
It's also the fact that we are now hyper aware. We've seen so much media be ruined by that when we see something like that, we're like,
You have to do a double take. Yep, I've seen that happen, because not that long ago somebody was like, oh, you play as the female characters in your game? And it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, I don't know if I like that. It's like, yeah, you can see it begin to proliferate. There's whiplash coming, and it's going to hurt when it hits.
Yes, there will be there's already a very harsh reaction to it.
The chat's totally, like, getting me on this point. They're like, hey, Susan, calm down. We just explained why we're thinking this.
I am sure this video will be thoroughly demonetized, but such is life.
I'm sure they're going to use this all against me later on. Yeah.
Elsis Surana says the issue is that nature designed men to be disposable so they can be quickly and easily sacrificed for the greater good. A bit of a negative, view.
That's a bit reductive there, dude.
But it is what society has in many cases done, like unknowingly. But the very fact that women don't go to war, like, there's a reason for that. Like, they're not going to be as good soldiers, obviously. But there's also the fact that, well, they can make more soldiers, which makes them inherently more valuable. And there's also the psychological aspect of it. Because if you really think about it, if you wanted the ultimate war machine and you had a stable population, we're talking like interstellar empire bullshit here, women would actually probably be the soldiers. Because in a space battle, who fucking cares if it's a man or a woman? And a man can impregnate a lot of women, but a woman, when she's impregnated, she's on her back for a while. But we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But personally, I am all for equality, of course. So if we ever need to fight a war against Russia, I volunteer my position to whoever is a strong female and want it.
Let the strong women go first, and we'll be right behind them.
Absolutely, I'm all for equality in this regard.
The blue hair division, if you will, can take the
There was actually so in Norway we have conscription, universal conscription. We never use it because it's like you show up to the session and the dude asks you like, so do you want to be in the military? If you say no, he just scratches your name from the list because they don't need people. They got way too many fucking people as it is. But the women's right movement championed to be included in this, and I'm pretty sure some of the selection people were a little bit pissed off about this because a lot of women who did say no were suddenly called in. And then there were a lot of complaints about this. Like a sports star, for example, was called up for service. He's like, I can't do this. I have a career. I can't take a year away from my career. Military just shrugged like, sorry. Rules. Let's see. Troyan says, I'm shocked that in Rings that an elf doesn't pull out a phone and orders his armor off Amazon's webpage and a sweaty goblin delivers it. I hated that scene. It's just the lack.
Did that happen?
Yeah, in the Rings of Power, two of the characters, Galadriel and Diversity High Elf, lose their armor. And in the next episode, they both have their armor again.
Interesting.
And it's one of those just attention to detail deficit moments that tells you that they didn't really actually give a fuck about this. Like, they had something else in mind when they were doing this. They had a wider agenda, and it wasn't making a good show.
Yeah. Seems to be the running joke these days.
And it does. Artemis Fowl says, Luke's brony name is Looney Pooney. Well, at least that's lore accurate, I think.
What? Why is it that?
Because it's lore accurate.
Looney Pooney.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I disavow.
What is his special power? Animation? It's just a pony sitting inside drawing pictures of ponies all day.
No. I disavow.
That'd be mildly funny, if nothing else. Princess Luna says, Trigger simps can't even remember names. Promare. See, that's the thing too. Like, I haven't watched it, so I can't say, but I'm actually not opposed to a gay anime, because I watched Tiger and Bunny. That's a gay fucking anime.
Sure.
And I liked it.
And so is Stardust Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
But
I haven't watched that idea, but I'm sure it's good. Maybe.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I love Stardust Crusaders. That's JoJo, by the way.
JoJo. I tried watching it. I couldn't.
Dude, Stardust Crusaders is amazing. It's the best one. No? But I mean, everyone has their favorite. Some like Stone Ocean. Some like other ones. I like in regards to Promare. I don't know. The character design for the antagonist, the blonde-haired boy, kind of looked like they had designed the blonde-haired girl originally. To me,
and then decided, but what if penis?
Yeah,
it could just. You got to remember, these are also Japanese people.
Sure,
their view of gays are probably quite stereotypical.
I know. Chat's gonna get me for this yet again, but whatever.
Twink.
It's once again. It's like it's happened. So much of it has happened now in culture. It's like when you do see it, even if it's like only slight, you kind of have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. You're like, wait a minute.
Yes. Glow in the Dark says, Kibbs, you're late again. That's probably true at this point. We've gone longer than I think Kibbs anticipated.
Kibbs has been very quiet.
Yes, because I'm not trying to add to the commentary. I'm letting it run.
Kibbs wants
people keep adding super chats.
It's good. More money is good.
Kibbs is like actively working against Arch's success. This is the reason why you get people who don't like each other. Like Kibbs is like, I'm not going to help.
It's not that I'm not helping. I step up when I need to. I'm interacting with chat in the chat.
But Kyle is a little bit special.
I almost caused the stream to have some very loud noise.
Oh, I mean, don't.
I stopped it. Don't worry.
Glow in the Dark also says, Kibbs, chat is waiting for you on your channel.
I know. I've already apologized several times. Don't worry about it.
This continues, Kyle. Black 1917. Black is doing this to you, okay? He's actively doing this to you now. He's not a innocent like bystander. He's an instigator.
He's never been innocent. I don't know why everyone's like, oh, it's little Blackie. He's just a little cutie. He's like, no, he's not. This little fucker is a sassy, snarky little son of a bitch. You're like, he's evil and conniving.
That might be potentially actually true, judging by everything. Black 917 says, Kibbs will be bred. Whether it produces offspring or not is relevant. Ah, good. So it is the act of breeding in and of itself that is the goal here. It's good to clarify this.
Let's post a link to the GoGo page.
Take
a look, chat.
Black 1917 says, the Salem witch trials were carried out by heretics following the writings of an incel who woman didn't want to date him were devil worshippers. This prick was
Sounds-
publicly denounced and excommunicated from the Catholic Church for his anti-woman views. Well,
Sounds about right.
I'll step in front of what Luke here was about to say here and simply just say, based.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
God, oh God, no. My brain immediately brings up the picture of this guy in that that commercial, not commercial, but the guy from Breaking Bad, the dude who made chickens.
Yeah.
You know, the dude in the meme, like,
Gus Fring?
you date men because you're gay. I date men because I hate women. We're not the same. That's like fair enough.
All right.
Chloe says, Luke, you don't need to be so defensive. We are accepting here. Even the vermin like Hibbs, furry dog, Boog the brony, Arch the Swede, fuck you, Stratos the black white supremacist, and me the FBI informant. That is true.
I guess
we have an
I
honest to
guess,
God KKK member who's also black.
Oh, dear. All right. I mean, I wasn't trying to come off as defensive. I'm just like, I don't know. It's a knee-jerk
just
reaction
covering
because
my bases.
yeah, just exactly.
It's
Again, knee-jerk
2022,
reaction.
okay,
It's 2022, current year. You try to say something and people take everything or misinterpret stuff, and yeah.
Oh, they're
it
gonna
is
do that no
what it
matter
is.
what.
Yeah,
Can't
guess
cry over every broken egg, so to speak.
I know. I guess I just gotta let it go.
Spilt milk, Kyle. Like, are you doing this on purpose? I swear to Jesus. You take more brain power than you have.
No, it was apt. It made sense.
Yeah. Arch's lacking of understanding of the English language is quite funny.
Okay, come on. Just a few. You little bastards, you're holding me up, aren't you? Trim's hot. Shaq says, sorry to say, but I don't have time to watch the stream. We don't have time either. I'll watch it tomorrow. Also, check out Christopher Evervad and his, I guess, Bestiary book trailer. Oh, definitely do that. Kyle?
Cool.
I have no opinion on the matter because I wasn't paying attention. What was it?
You can find Christopher Everard's Bestiary book trailer.
Oh, Chris. Yes.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good.
Gosh, that guy don't know this human.
I wasn't paying attention. I was actually reading somebody had sent me more really fucking cringy fan art. Don't worry about it. I'll pull it up later. We're not going to pollute this stream with it. It's awful.
Prince of Luna says Battle Tendency is better than Stardust Crusaders. Stardust Crusaders is better than the rest.
I would disagree. I mean, because it was Stardust Crusaders that introduces the concept of stands, whereas Battle Tendency was more about Hammond. I think there's like an argument between which is better, Hammond or stands. I prefer stands. They just seem cooler.
Well, just accept your word for it.
Yeah.
Artemis Fowl says, Arch, blame Kibbs for lack of super chats. That is true. Glow in the Dark says, Kibbs blames the blacks again. That's also
Like I
true.
said, they'll quote you on anything. The guy names himself Black, and we nicknamed him Blackie, and it's just gonna happen.
Suddenly, Kyle is blaming him for everything. I mean, I see the correlation too.
He's a good lad.
This one day, innocently, this poor lad, probably white as a driven snowflake, gets a DM from Kyle like, you're the cause of it all. And ever since. And Gamma Spectre says, hello, your excellency, Baron Kibbs, an honored guest. That was very nice of you. Thank you. That was the first nice super chat we've had all day.
Oh.
Oh god, are we done? I think we're done. No, Blackline17 says hashtag revenge for Strato. And Shoydeen says Shadiversity's comic is doing well. Oh, has he done a comic?
Well, very good. I wasn't
Oh,
aware.
fuck.
Well, I guess that's everything.
Oh, fat puggy Australian could tell me.
Don't forget to check the Indiegogo chat.
Yes. So
Random
check it
Saga.
out. 7 days left on this campaign. I'd really appreciate it. You guys are helping fund independent animation. Was there anything else you guys wanted to ask me? I guess because everything's answered and now we can wrap things up.
Kib?
I mean, if I can think of things, I'll probably just send you a DM. I'll add you,
Alright.
and we can maintain connections. That way we can follow you, and if you ever need to do another campaign, we can hook things up much easier and get you rolling.
Sure.
Kyle, We're not just whores.
We gotta help.
No, of course. I understand that.
Fucking Kyle. I just takes Arch's ass solidly like, well, if you want to, like Kyle.
What? I don't need.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
need
Arch's
you.
channel.
No, we've already
Yoda.
established it's the Kibcast now. This is my channel now. Arch, sit down.
And a final one, Glow in the Dark says, Arch, did you get this super chat? Yes, I did. You little sneaky hunt. And with that, I think we're done, because I can't think of anything to ask either that hasn't been asked over the last 3 hours.
Okay.
So thank you very much for being here today, Luke, and definitely, guys, do check out the Indiegogo campaign.
Yes, thank you for having me. This has probably been the funnest stream I've ever been on. The chat's been great. You guys have been great. I know there was a bit of a delay, and you've been sick, but I think we did pretty well in general.
I notice myself that I am remarkably placid when I'm dying.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate everyone's support.
Great. All right, everyone. Thank you all very much for watching, and thank you for your generous super chats. And we will see you all again next time. Have a good day.
Good night,
Stay
chat.
fresh.